Thank you, Richard. Under the lights here at the National Stadium in Glasgow, Hampden Park about to witness one of its biggest games in recent years, but obviously behind closed doors in unfamiliar circumstances. 250 days from now, Scotland would be in Group D and would open with a game here against the Czech Republic on Monday the 14th of June 2021 at Euro 2020. 8,393 days it is tonight since their last match at a major finals in Saint-Étienne in France, and that World Cup in 1998 when they lost to Morocco. We're just seconds away from kick-off. Scotland lining up with Marshall in goal, McTominay, Gallagher and Cooper at the back, with O'Donnell and Robertson in the wing-back areas, McGinn, Jack and McGregor, with Dykes and McBurney looking like forming a front two tonight. Israel have made a couple of changes from the side that drew 1-1 here in the Nations League last month. They showed enough on that night, and indeed in the two in the previous Nations League tournament, that they can cause the Scots problems, and that is exactly what I'm sure Steve Clarke will be anticipating at some point tonight, how he would love an early goal. This is Scotland's fifth playoff to get to a major finals, their third to try to get to a European Championship. They've only won one. It was against Australia over two legs to get to the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. Davy Cooper and Frank McAvenny's second half first leg goals here did the job. However, they failed in the other three playoffs, including the two to get to the finals they're attempting to get to next season, or next year, next June, as the players take the knee ahead of the match here at Hampden Park. Scotland will kick off. They're going to go from left to right, all in navy blue. Israel all in white with black flashes, and it is John McGinn of Aston Villa who gets the first touch, though the referee's not happy and he wants him to take centre again. The referee is the experienced Ovidiu Hategin of Romania. 25 Champions League matches he's taken charge of. He was also at the last European Championship finals. As McGinn, at the second time of asking, rolls it back to McTominay, and it's a long ball from McTominay up towards the 18-yard line, where it's nodded clear by the Israelis, who, as I say, were very good for large spells of that game. The one real positive for the Scots was the performance of Lyndon Dykes before he went on to score in the next game a few days later in Olomouc against the Czech Republic, as the Israelis try and get a feel of the ball, but they're being harassed and harried, and the Scots have it back midway inside Israeli territory. Out to the right hand side for O'Donnell, he's a bit level with the edge of the centre circle. Long ball clipped towards the 18-yard line, flicked on by McBurney. There's no one behind him, and it is easily away there by Eli Dasa. The Vitesse Arnhem player plays in the Netherlands at right back, and he gets up the pitch, as we saw here last month, as the long ball from Liverpool's Robertson, the skipper, goes from left to right, and it beats everyone and goes out for a throw-in down on this near side for Israel, about level with the 6-yard line. Important the Scots start well, and Billy Dodds, it's important perhaps for them to try and stamp their authority on the game, because that's something they didn't manage last month.
And I think they have. I've got to be honest right away, just with what the game means. We have the two up front to apply more pressure onto their back three. Willie and I watched here in the last game where near Beaton and Cove are just getting too much room and just moving the ball about at will. I don't think that will happen tonight. You can see McBurney and Dykes straight away putting the pressure on, and then anything into midfield was stolen right away, so we've set the intention out, Liam.
Sore one for Manis Dabur in the opening seconds of the game. He's back on his feet now, though. Israel are in possession inside the midway point of their own half. It's knocked back the way there for Near Beaton of Celtic, and it's a long ball with the right foot which comes off the head of Liam Cooper, who's had an excellent start to the season for Leeds United in their long-awaited return to the English Premier League, and that goes out of play for a throw-in for Scotland, and Robertson is going to take it as we click on to the 2-minute mark. Willie Miller.
Yeah, it's been a positive start. Most of the game's been played in the Israeli half. Scotland look up for it. They're looking bright. They're on the front foot to take the game to the Israelis. But there's a long way to go. We obviously know that. But I think it's important early on that you set the tempo properly, and they've done that.
Pretty benign conditions, not too much of a wind in the air. The pitch looks good. It's a bitterly cold night on Glasgow South Side as Marciano, the goalkeeper, launches it forward. It comes off the head of Callum McGregor, but it breaks to Beaton, his clubmate, and out it goes to Dasa, rolling it forward. And now the Israelis trying to bare their teeth for the first time in the match. It's Galassa out to the right hand side, where it will be collected there as they try and move it towards the penalty area, and it's TB's way up the pitch and then knocked back into their own half for Beaton, and then he elects to go back to his goalkeeper. The two setups look as though they are as expected, Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. The 3-5-2 we were talking about before the game, definite for Scotland, and yeah, we expected that from Israel as well. They play the kind of 3-5-1-1, don't they, that one of their strikers always drops off the game, so similarly matched both teams.
Dabour and Zahavi up front are big threats, we know that already, and Israel come forward, and it's moved just outside the Scottish penalty area. It's now with Manor Solomon of Shakhtar Donetsk. He moves it out to the left hand side. Opportunity here for El Hamid, playing in an unfamiliar left back position or left wing back position. He's turned and twisted away from O'Donnell, gets his cross in, headed clear by Cooper. It's only half away though. Israel back in possession in the midfield, moving towards the edge of the penalty area. And it is Yaini who's playing on the left hand side here, just shifted back into the middle of the pitch there for Zahavi, back out wide for El Hamid, rolls it to the edge of the penalty area. They're trying to get it on the right foot is Solomon as he spreads it out wide right for Dasa. Right foot cross ball comes in, flicked away by McTominay. It's only half away though. Israel trying to maintain the pressure here on the Scots. Dabour inside the penalty area, looking for space to shoot, tries to dink it forward, blocked though by Rangers' Ryan Jack. And it comes back to Yaini, who shifts it forward, but then the first time ball comes all the way back to El Hamid, and out on the left hand side it will be picked up by Solomon, and he's driving away, trying to get away from McTominay. McTominay lost sight of him just for a moment. Solomon holding it up, he's level with the 6 yard line, turns it back to El Hamid, looks up, time to pick out a cross. It's too high for everyone, and it goes way behind that right hand post for a goal kick to Israel. But that's the first time we've seen them come forward as an attacking force, and they look useful again. 4.5 goalless minutes in.
They look very good, didn't they? You know, moving the ball, very confident on the ball, very crisp with their passes, excellent running off the ball as well, and eventually getting that little bit of space through Solomon down the left hand side on top of McTominay, who just sat off him, which was perfectly the right thing to do. And you know, the ball was put back to El Hamid, but it was a poor cross into the box. They really should have done better, but you know, I think that has shown you the quality they've got, the technical ability that the Israelis have.
No, absolutely. They're ranked 93 in the FIFA World Rankings, the latest ones. They've been actually in the 90s since the Scots faced them in the Nations League 2 years ago, as Marciano clips it forward from inside his own box. Cooper's chest, looking to get it to Robertson on the left. Israel win it back though, just sliding in there was Zahavi, and he's got it inside his own half though, right of the centre circle. He switches it to the left of it, and it'll be picked up here by Yaini, forward into the Scotland half, and now it is at the feet of Solomon, who scored a couple of goals against Manchester City in the Champions League last season. It's now with Zahavi, who scored twice here recently, as he just rolls it back to Galassa out wide right. It comes to Dasa, right foot cross comes in, it's poor, it sails over the bar, and it'll be a goal kick to the Scots. 6 minutes in, 0-0, but Israel are putting the pressure on. They're seeing plenty of the ball now, and Billy, they're seeing plenty of the ball in Scottish territory.
Yeah, we're finding it a little bit solidify space for them, and they are making Solomon, I mean, just plays in a roving role where he'll go and get the ball anywhere. He's out on this left hand side, so it's hard to know who's picking him up. You know, we talked about Zahavi dropping off the game, Dabour the striker, so they have quality, Liam, and they look as if they can get a final ball into the box. The first two has not been great, then they could hurt us, but they certainly have the players, as I've shown, with the movement and the possession so far.
Gallagher has rolled it to McTominay. It's midway inside his own half. He's got O'Donnell as an option out on the right hand touchline if he wants him. Instead he elects to go back to Gallagher, wearing the number 5, deputising for Scott McKenna, now of Nottingham Forest. Made that move from Aberdeen just a couple of weeks ago. He's out injured, as are another couple, and the COVID-19 issues that have befallen Stevie Clarke's squad over the last couple of days have wreaked havoc, as well as McGregor passes it out wide left for Robertson. Midway inside the Israel half. Over on the north stand side, the Scots shooting from left to right in this first half, as we watch from the midway point at the back of the main stand, as McBurney plays it to McGregor. It's a left foot chip ball into the box. Dykes chests it back to the edge of the area for McGinn, who shoots, having chested it down. It's wildly over the bar on this occasion. He's been in terrific goal scoring form for Scotland, John McGinn, as well. 7 goals in the Euro 2020 qualifying campaign last year. He's off target this time, 7.5 in, and it remains 0-0 at Hampden.
Unfortunately well off target. He needs to show better composure, John McGinn, just on the edge of the box as well, not that far out, maybe a little bit shy of 20 yards, but Dykes setting it up for him. I thought it was a great set up by the striker off his chest, and a good opportunity for him again, but way off balance, and the big backswing as well, needs
right
to be
foot maybe as well. What I would say about that movement, Dykes wanted it hung up while he was pointing, just hung up above him, wanted to go and attack a header, left it short, but his movement was brilliant just to get round the centre half and chest it back to McGinn, who hit the right foot shot over.
He's got a couple of goals for QPR already, Lyndon Dykes. Both have come from the penalty spot, so that might add to the speculation that he would be the penalty taker tonight should Scotland be awarded a spot kick at some point. Remember, extra time and penalties if required. It could be a long night here in Glasgow as Gallagher pings a long ball towards Dykes, takes it down, nice couple of touches there, eventually sliding and beat on to clear. Jack losing out in the midfield. He's just back from injury actually, Ryan Jack. It's his first start since his injury. Came off the bench for Rangers at the weekend in their win over Ross County at Ibrox, as that goes out for a throw-in on the far side for Israel inside their own half. Dasa is over it as we hit on to the 9-minute mark with no goals as yet in this game, as the Israelis look to qualify for their first European Championship, although they've only been UEFA members since before Euro 96. And that's played out to the left hand side. It's a chip ball forward by Yaney, trying to find Solomon. Jack got his head onto it. It's now at the feet of Gallagher. Short ball forward there for McGregor, who turns it out to the left hand side for Robertson, and first time it comes back to Liam Cooper. It's the lead skipper who plays it short to Gallagher. 9.5 in at 0-0. At walking pace for the Scots right now. It's with Jack in the centre circle, turns it to his left for McGregor, then onto the touchline on the far side for Robertson. Nice little ball forward there to McGinn, couple of touches to get it under control, passes it back to Robertson out wide, infield to McGinn. He's got a good runner to his left if he can find him, which he can't. It was McGregor. The pass though through to him was blocked, and Israel have it back in the midfield. That's a good challenge by McGinn. He's managed to rob the Israeli skipper Natko, and then moving towards the edge of the box, there's a foul and a Scotland free kick. Dykes had his run towards the penalty area upended there, and there was a really clumsy challenge actually from the defender, and Dykes is struggling to get back to his feet here, but the Romanian referee has given Scotland a free kick in a very promising position. It's just slightly right of centre, and it's definitely 100% within striking range.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a good opportunity, and no doubt that I think it was Yenny, was it, that put the challenge in? It was really awkward, and he was away. Dykes was away from him. I think he had slipped it through his legs actually as the challenge came in, and John McGinn did really well, I thought, to break down their attack, to win possession, and then Dykes doing well, and a free kick, 23, 24 yards out, something like that.
To say, right of centre, Robertson with the left or McTominay with the right. That's how they are lined up at the moment as they size up Ophir Marciano's goal. Off to our right, Scotland shooting towards the east stand in this first half, as Robertson going to go for that top right. The goalkeeper's left a lot of space to his left as the two wait to take. Now referee Hategin's ready. McTominay leaves it, Robertson takes it, Robertson just wide. Marciano threw himself to his left, looked like the keeper had it covered in any case, but that just flies past that right hand post and behind for a goal kick, and it will stay Scotland 0, Israel 0, 11.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it was decent, wasn't it, from Robertson? Not too far away, but I would have thought that Marciano would have got it. He seemed to have it covered. They seemed to have a good line of sight on it, but a decent effort from Robertson.
Had Marciano scrambled, didn't he? Just for a second or so. I thought when he got it up over the wall, just needed to hit target, but just missed Marciano's left hand post.
Yeah, fine effort there from the Liverpool defender. There's a yellow card meantime to Natko, who has just hauled McBurney down. Was it? No, he's slid in on John McGinn. It was, and that will be a free kick to Scotland again, this time left the centre, but this time midway inside Israeli territory. But it is a yellow card there to Bibris Natko of Partizan Belgrade in Serbia, who is the captain, and he has gone into the book.
I thought Yenny was lucky not got a yellow as well in his tackle on Lyndon Dykes a few moments ago.
12.5 in, Scotland free kick which Robertson's going to take. Gallagher's gone up to join the party, as is Cooper. McTominay is inside the D of the Israel box as well as a throng of players right along the 18-yard line, and it comes from Robertson. Gallagher gets something onto it, it's up in the air, drops down, Israel flick clear, clearance completed by the Israelis as Jack tries to pump it back into the box. McBurney giving chase, and McBurney's going to get onto it, but he's been forced out wide towards the corner flag. Taking it for a run, he's now level with the 18-yard line. He's done well to win the throw, he's kept the Israelis hemmed in. Looked like a lost cause initially for Ollie McBurney, who will be so keen to impress tonight. 13 minutes played, 0-0.
Yeah, just a simple lob over the top of the Israeli defence, and McBurney timed it really well, I thought, to beat the offside trap, and they got on to the end of it. There wasn't too much he could have done with it, right enough.
Long throw from Stephen O'Donnell into the box. It comes off an Israeli head and falls kindly for Marciano, with Lyndon Dykes attacking it. I think it might have been Natko, the captain, who was just yellow carded a moment ago, who did enough to put off Dykes, and it's back in the hands of Marciano. No goals in the early stages of the other playoff semi-finals taking place tonight, including the Norway-Serbia match. The winner of that will play the winner of this one. Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland could be in line to set up a playoff final next month at Windsor. We'll keep you up to date with those ones as well, but in the main here on digital with BBC Radio Scotland and on BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra, it is all about this game at Hampden. And Scotland 0, Israel 0, and it is the Israelis in possession here with Solomon. He's danced away from McTominay in the halfway line. Forward it comes there to Zahavi, played back to Yeni. It's a loose ball from them though. He was trying to find Dabour. Now it's back with Gallagher. But so many threats, Solomon, Dabour and Zahavi, they could play for so many different clubs across Europe. They're really good players, and I mean they're playing in good leagues, to be fair to them. Zahavi's in the Eredivisie with PSV Eindhoven, and he just signed for them after the match at Hampden in the Nations League last month. Dabour's with Hoffenheim, scored against Bayern Munich in Bayern's first defeat since last December. The Champions League holders with a lovely little chipped cam finish. And Solomon, he's only 21, he's already being eyed up by some big clubs, and as I said, he scored in the Champions League against Manchester City last season. So those three, that triumvirate, could cause issues for that Scottish three at the back tonight. 15 in, 0-0. They've been kept relatively quiet up to press as McBurney squeezes it back into his own half on the far side for McGregor along the deck, and now it's with Gallagher, who plays it to his right for McTominay. Short ball from him to the left of the circle for Cooper. He goes long, it's a long ball to Dykes in the 18-yard line. He nods it back, he's found McGregor, rolls it to his left for McBurney. Two waiting in the middle, three now, but it's headed away by Solomon. Picked up by Ryan Jack, feeding off the scraps. Slow ball wide left for Robertson. His cross is cut out and cleared. McGregor thought about putting the challenge in there on Natko, but Natko's managed to sweep it out to the left, and now the Scots might be caught in the counter. Solomon's driving forward, he's in a central area, rides the challenge of Jack. Short ball to Zahavi, he's got Dabour around about the 18-yard line. Instead he spreads it out wide left to this near side for Celtic's El Hamid. Steps on to the right foot, looking for an option. He's a primarily right-sided player, as we know, as he stabs it back there to Natko instead, and then it's shifted to Beaton right of the centre circle. Israel happy to knock the ball about, and it's picked up by Dasa. Dasa's looking for some movement ahead of him. His pass is poor, goes straight to Jack, who read it well. Forward to McBurney, he's just a bit level with the edge of the centre circle. He's managed to find McGinn, bounces off the referee, and he'll have to begin an uncontested drop ball, presumably with Scotland in possession. 0-0, almost 17 played.
I don't know about you boys, Willie, Liam, but there's no doubt Stevie Clark's analysed the last game and thought we have to get closer to them and apply pressure, because we're just be playing the front two, but also just about the pitch. I watched McTominay earlier on there, and he just didn't stay back in the three. He pressed his man into midfield. He thought about getting closer to him all the time. You've seen McGinn nicking a few. We've just got to be careful, because it's good off the ball, there's good pressure on the Israeli team, but just when they get it, their front three you've just talked about, Liam, and they are good technically, they've got good ball retention, they've got good movement, and we've got to make sure we transfer us putting pressure on and getting forward to get back in a nice defensive shape as quick as possible.
Bad news for Northern Ireland in Bosnia. They're 1-0 down. Milan's Rade Krunic has scored after 13 minutes. Bosnia-Herzegovina 1, Northern Ireland 0. as O'Donnell picks up and plays it back to Jack, who wins the throw-in midway inside the Israel half on this near side, and O'Donnell will take almost 18 minutes played. No goals as yet. O'Donnell with the throw, bowls it towards the edge of the box. Dykes chesting it down, looking for McGinn, but it was well read this time by TB, who was the man who gave away the penalty against John McGinn in the Nations League game here in September, as McGregor is adjudged to have fouled his man there in the midfield, Galassa, and that will be a free kick to Israel midway inside their own half.
Yeah, we're much closer to them, aren't we? I mean, we're going and we're engaging them. We didn't do that in the last game.
They were admiring them at times, weren't they?
Far too much room, but not tonight. I think Dodgy's absolutely right. Stevie Clark's done his homework. He's obviously worked on it. He's made sure that the team have started positively and they've got close to the opposition.
It is with El Hamid up against O'Donnell. Moves it back to the left of the centre circle there, Natko. And back with TB, who plays it to his right for Beaton. Just into the Scotland half. Low ball to Dassa on the right hand touchline. Infield it comes for Zahavi. Turns it back to Dassa to the edge of the centre circle for Natko. And back to Beaton. Sweeps it right to left, out to this near side. And it will be moved forward by Yeni to Solomon. Back to Yeni, one of several Maccabi Tel Aviv players in the Israel squad, and it's now with TB, and there's another one to Solomon on the left, looking to work it out to El Hamid on this near side, but it's Scotland able to clear into the Israel half as Yeni plays it back to Marciano in the pink luminous kit. You won't miss him tonight as the long ball from him goes forward. It's off the head of Gallagher, back into Israel possession though, and a short ball with the right foot forward there by TB, breaks to Zahavi, left of the centre circle, moves it to the right of it there for Galassa, and out to Dassa, and then to Natko. They're getting a good feel of the ball here, the visitors. 20 minutes in almost, no goals, and Israel actually, the longer the first half went on last month, the better they got, and it was kind of ironic that it was Scotland who went in at half time with the lead thanks to Ryan Christie's penalty.
And there was long spells out of possession and just allowing that won't happen with the two. You can see them, you can see McGinn, all he's thinking about is Natko and just sitting on him so he doesn't start the game, which they did the last time. So they've looked at it a couple of times. We'll watch this there. The couple of times where the strikers come off, where one of the back three have to go tight, just on an odd occasion they've let them come off and get turned, and that's what starts a rotation and retention of the ball with that front three you were discussing, Liam.
Liam Cooper back for David Marshall, 16 years on from his Scotland debut, and this is Marshall's 37th cap. He's only managed 7 clean sheets and some difficult nights and days in the infancy of his Scotland career back in the day, as Beaton collects midway inside his own half on that far side, infield to TB, who shifts it along the deck out to the near side for Yeni. 21 in, 0-0, approaching the end of the first quarter of the 90 minutes. Here's Zahavi on the turn. McTominay out of position. Zahavi rolls it out to this near side, and now inside the box is El Hamid. El Hamid's put one defender down and then he dragged the ball away. It's blocked by his club mate McGregor, but it is out at the expense of Israel's first corner of this playoff semi-final. 21 in, Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Oh, he's got to pass it to De Boer. De Boer is just standing there waiting for the pass to come in from El Hamid. It was a great run down the left hand side, open the Scottish defence up again, but I think El Hamid, once he gets his head up, he should be looking. He goes for goal. It's such a tight angle that there's a defender in front of him as well as a goalkeeper. The striker was a man to pick out there.
You see what started the move again though? Just what I touched on, De Boer coming off and allowed to come off, and McTominay thought about going tight with him. He didn't. He allowed him to turn, and suddenly that rotation and movement started that allowed El Hamid to get the shot.
Natko will take it from this left hand side. Israel shooting west off to our left. The corner's poor though from Natko, cleared by Robertson at the near post. Natko gets a second chance, but he's passed it back towards the centre circle for Dassa. It's in a central area as he rolls it to Beaton, right footed along the deck. The side foot pass out to that far side touchline, collected by Zahavi, infield to Dabour, back to Zahavi, looking for Dabour again. Too much on the pass, and the Scots will allow that to trickle over the line for a goal kick for them. Almost 22 and a half in. Scotland 0, Israel 0.
You're the centre half. Well, it happened there. Cooper really tight with Dabour, ends up making them rush the pass and they lose it. If you've got 3 in there and one of them's coming off, the strikers just go in tight with them. You've got other 2 to cover. I'm sure if you were playing in a 3 you'd have been saying exactly that. You go tight, there's no problem, you've got the cover here. It didn't the first time with McTominay on Dabour, but on that occasion Cooper nice and tight, rushed the pass and the chance was gone. But the other one, when you allow him to turn, there's all sorts of movement and business going on there.
Yeah, and there's no reason why, when you've got 3v2 at the back there, that you can't go tight with the strikers.
Here come the Scots in an attacking position. McGinn rolling it to the left angle of the box for McGregor, passes it back to John McGinn. He was on the score sheet in that incredible 7-2 Aston Villa win over the champions in England, Liverpool, at the weekend. It's back with Gallagher in the centre circle, looking for Robertson, asking a lot of him, but he's found the captain. He's trying to win a throw, and at least he's done well to do that against Dasa. And this will be a bit level with the Israel penalty spot out on the north stand side, the Scotland left, as they attack the goal to the right. 23.5 minutes into this playoff semi, and it's going to be Robertson to take the throw, just bowling it back to McGregor. Square ball infield to Jack. To McGregor again. McGregor then back onto the halfway line for Cooper. Scots going back to come forward. McGregor's little chip ball looking for McGinn. Comes off the defender, but it works for the Scots with O'Donnell, who finds McGinn. Back to O'Donnell on the right hand side. He's running into trouble though, and he's being pickpocketed, and Israel have it back when on this left hand side with Solomon. Back it comes from Dabour to El Hamid, and then it goes all the way back there to Yaney. They'll need better quality than that if they're going to come through this game tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of being alert. I think Stephen O'Donnell there just going at it with his head down. He's got to play with the head up. You know that you're going to be put under pressure, particularly in the area that he found himself in there, but to give away possession like that shouldn't be happening.
Hungary and Iceland have moved a step closer to meeting each other in the League A path. Hungary 1-0 up in Bulgaria, Iceland 1-0 up on Romania in Reykjavik. As I mentioned, Bosnia-Herzegovina 1-0 up on Northern Ireland. The Republic still 0-0 in Slovakia. Norway and Serbia, who the winners of this will come up against, one of those away from home, are 0-0 as well. North Macedonia 1-0 up on Kosovo. Georgia beat Belarus earlier on, so the winners of that North Macedonia-Kosovo game will play the Georgians. The referee tonight was in charge of that infamous night for the Scots under Gordon Strachan in Tbilisi, as Israel pick up a free kick, and it's a sore one by the looks of things. It was John McGinn who was the offender. He's being spoken to by referee Hategin just now. 25.5 played 0-0. It will be an Israel free kick, and it was a fairly stern warning for John McGinn for the challenge on Solomon.
It was right through the back. Yeah. I mean, he did get plenty of the ball, but you just don't get away with that in modern football. He did get the ball, swept Solomon to the ground and got the free kick against. Good movement from Solomon, though. Sometimes he goes high, and that's why we say that front three, Liam, but then he comes off the game and he gives Scotland all sorts of problems.
Scott's eager to avoid the situation that could arise, or would arise, if they fail to emerge from these two playoff matches. And see Hampden Park taking part in Euro 2020 while they sit at home again for an 11th straight major finals. Down the left goes Solomon. He's near the corner flag, between the corner flag and the box, left hand side of it. Solomon taking on McTominay, driving it into the box. It bounces off the head of Gallagher, I think it was. Dykes gets his head onto it midway inside his own half, but the Scots have given it away. Hatem El Hamid rolling it to the left for Solomon. Nobody to hit in the middle at the moment. Solomon has to hold it up now. Left angle of the box. Dabour bending it in for Dasa. He's managed to keep it in. Volleys it back across the 6-yard box and over the bar there by McTominay. It would have been a corner, but he obviously didn't keep it in play, Dasa. Albeit, God loves a trier, Willie. That was an excellent attempt there from Dasa. He'll be trying to stretch that leg out, I think.
It was at the stretch there, and it took the linesman some amount of time to decide that was over the line, but fortunately, there wasn't a Israeli striker up there, and the fact that it was indeed over the line, it was a bit of a relief, and I think he's acknowledging the fact that it was just over.
Yeah, it was good. It was acrobatic, we'll say, but I've got to say, I don't want to be negative. We're having a problem down the right hand side. For me, O'Donnell's not getting the grips, and then you see that pass, what we're talking about pre-match, where McTominay's watching the ball and suddenly Solomon's right in behind him. Got to be careful just down this right hand side, showing a bit of naivety.
and not really an attacking force at the moment, the Scots. There's a statistic up just now, a pass complete statistic from very recently in the game. Scotland 95 passes, Israel 152. It's almost twice the number of passes the visitors have made in the opening almost 28 minutes now. 0-0 as Jack gives it away in the midfield. Israel have it back, and it's Yeni touching it back to his goalkeeper. The referee's blowing his whistle. What's he seen? What's he seen now? There is obviously blood. Some kind of problem. Is it blood? Is it? Yeah, it's an Israeli player who's having to come off. He's taking a bang to the face, and it's TB by the looks of things, the big centre half, and the referee's had to stop play. 28 played, 0-0. Remember, we've got VAR tonight for the first time at Hampden. A lot of those players out there will be well used to the video assistant referee now, though, playing in the leagues that have it across Europe. It will be an Israel ball when all is said and done, and TB's being patched up down below us as we edge ever closer to the half-hour mark. Still no goals. Long from Marciano. Gallagher's underneath it, heads it out to this near side where it will be picked up by Solomon. He's seen a lot of the ball in this first half. You can understand that. He's the playmaker in the team. They've given it away. McTominay comes out with the ball. He's found Jack. Side foot pass comes back to Cooper. He rolls it with a left foot to Robertson. Robertson moving up towards halfway. Passes it to McGregor. Back to Robertson. Long left-footed ball forward, looking for McGinn. Underneath it, reading it is Beaton. Leaves it for Yeni, who clears it out to Dassa on the right-hand side. TB's now back in the pitch. Israel back to their full complement. There it is with Liam Cooper. Short to McTominay, just left of the centre circle. Works it out wide left for Robertson. Infield for Ryan Jack. Jack looking for an option to his right, doesn't have one, so moves it back to his left for Robertson, to Dykes, back to Robertson, now with Jack. Good footwork by Ryan Jack, away from a couple of challenges, but his pass was wayward and Israel have it back. And the Scots have got to defend again, get back into their shape as Natko comes forward. His pass is blocked, but it breaks kindly for the visitors, and it breaks kindly for Zahavi. Out wide left for El Hamid. El Hamid looking for space, rolls it back the way to Yeni into his own half, and now it's at the feet of TB, who's back on the pitch. Bang in the half hour now, bang in the 30 minutes. No goals as yet. Here's Zahavi looking for Dabour. Back to Zahavi. He's beyond the midway point of the Scotland half. Gets it out wide right for Dassa. Eli Dassa with the control, the cross, and held on to by David Marshall. Dabour fancied that. He moved towards the ball. It's Zahavi in there as well. And Marshall will hold on, and he'll underarm bowl it there to Cooper. His pass up towards halfway goes to McGinn, then first time back out wide left for Robertson. 0-0. Israel looking confident though, Willie.
They're definitely more of a threat than what we are. They're moving the ball from side to side. We're struggling to get close to them. Fortunately, the crosses into the box haven't been great. That was a bit better from Dassa on the right hand side, but too near David Marshall. But you know, they are a threat. They're looking much more threatening than what we are when they get in and around our box.
They're a good, you can see what we called them at the last time, Liam. They're an experienced team, aren't they?
But here comes McGregor for Scotland, rolls it to McBurney's on the edge of the box. He shoots, it's deflected, that takes the sting out of it, and it's right through to Marciano. But it is a shot on target finally for the Scots. 31 minutes in, Scotland 0, Israel 0.
It's worth a pop, takes a little deflection, but Marciano's got it covered. And just going back to their experience, it's when Solomon goes high, it kind of triggers El Hamid to get forward. Here he is on the ball. It's a really good movement to have right throughout the pitch. They know their jobs on and off the ball, and it's causing us a wee problem the last 15-20 minutes or so. Yeah,
perhaps surprising that they are so lowly ranked right now, but they're there for a reason, as Dykes manages to win it back off TB. It's McBurney driving forward, but good recovery by Israel, and it was TB himself who gave it away, who slid in on McBurney to knock it clear. So there was a little glimpse potentially there for the Scots, but they couldn't take advantage. 32 in, 0-0. Israel have it, passes poor though, straight to Cooper. Now it's with Jack in the centre circle, turns it back to McTominay, and he moves it to Cooper.
It's good from Cooper, going in nice and tight again, Liam, on Dabour when he wants to come into that midfield area. So short, just one really close to him, nicking the ball and getting Scotland started again. Have to do that consistently.
It's good to see Cooper getting a run of games for Scotland. Many feel should have come before now, as Natko comes forward across halfway. Israel looking menacing every time they come into the Scotland half, and Dabur's little dummy knew exactly where Solomon was. He's unlucky because McTominay got in the road of the pass, but Dabur, not a second's thought, he's just jumped over the ball knowing Solomon was in behind him, and if Solomon gets onto it, he's in on David Marshall.
He is, and I don't think McTominay knew too much about that. It just came right to him. It hit him in the shins, and it fell, really fortunately for him. But again, the movement is good. They're a real threat. They know the position of their teammates as well, and they anticipate things extremely well. And that was a little anticipated dummy there, and I think it was fortunate that McTominay, it just fell for him.
Israel just looked technically a better side all over the pitch.
They function better. They play a 5-3-2, but they get back when they've not got the ball. But when they have the ball, and it's Glasser today on the right and Solomon on the left, when they go high, it just triggers our two wing backs to get forward, Dasa and El Hamid. They really function well in turning defence into attack, and vice versa as well when they have to get behind it, Liam. They're good at it.
They've only won one of their last 9, Israel, and before they absolutely pummeled Scotland in Haifa. It finished 2-1 2 years ago in Israel, almost exactly 2 years ago, but Scotland were well beaten that night as Israel came from behind to beat them, and going into that one they'd only won 1 of 10, so they don't win too many games of football, but the way they play against Scotland, if they were playing Scotland every week, they'd be well up the rankings. As Israel come forward down the right, it is Dasa rolling it towards the edge of the Scottish box. The referee's going to pull it back, I think, for an Israel free kick here, midway inside the Scotland half to right of centre, and this is an opportunity for them to load the box from the set play. 34 played, 11 to the break, 0-0.
I think it's too far out for the strike, isn't it? But it's just possession given away again there. I think it was Cooper on that occasion that lost possession, and allowed then Dasa to bust forward. He's crossed into the box, there was no one there, but there was a free kick given before that in any case. But again, the possession that Scotland have, given it away unnecessarily and allowing the Israelis to have an attack.
And it's a chance for Israel to test the Scottish rear guard again here. They've looked the more likely. This was the case last month, but it was the Scots who went in 1-0 up at the break thanks to Christie's penalty. And it's the skipper with his arm in the air, Nat Coe, waiting to take the free kick. He's got help out there. I think it's Solomon. Nat Coe waits, the referee's ready, and it is Solomon. He takes it, and it comes bouncing off Gallagher. Is that a corner? Or is it just a goal kick? Well, the referee says goal kick only, so it must have come off the Israeli head last into the final 10 minutes, the first half at 0-0.
Beaton got himself free. It's a good pace in the free kick, and he got beyond the Scotland rear guard and got ahead. They just can't get it on target, but it's not a major chance, but it's a wee let off.
He doesn't score many near Beaton. It looked as though it had come off Gallagher last, but anyway, the Scots will take that, and they have a goal kick which David Marshall, nowadays of Derby County, takes it, and it's a long ball right down the middle of the pitch. The header's won there by Galassa, and goes to Robertson, now back to Marshall. Marshall with the right-footed ball forward, but he's given it straight back to Israel with Dasa. Very uninspiring so far from the Scots in this first half of this Euro 2020 playoff semi-final. They're going to have to up the ante at some point. Zahavi spreads the play wide right for Dasa, level with 18-yard line, looks up, right foot cross, loops into the box, headed away by McTominay, chested down by McGinn, using that centre of gravity to hold off his man. Nat Coe finds McGregor out wide left there for Jack, who's going to emerge with it here. He can get back up, manages to stab it to McBurney, back to Robertson, infield to McGregor, under pressure. McGregor showed his jersey pulled there, he did. That will be a free kick to Scotland, left at the centre circle, 0-0.
But they work hard too, don't they? Out of possession, they're willing to put the effort in to make sure that Scotland don't get easy possession. That was a point in case there.
Chip ball by Jack onto the chest of Dykes, up against the defender. He's got his back to goal, he's gone down, not enough in it to draw the free kick though, on the edge of the box, and instead it's the Israelis coming forward out to this left hand side, with Solomon taking on O'Donnell. He's now level with the edge of the circle, just rolling it back away there to Zahavi, the big danger man. 14 goals in 14 internationals for Eran Zahavi of PSV Eindhoven. He's completely come to life because he only managed 6 in his first 40 caps. So it's quite astonishing. He's managed 14 and 14 since. A couple of back-to-back hat-tricks, including one, an impressive one against Austria and a 4-2 win in the actual qualifying campaign for this tournament last year. Israel in possession with Beaton, low ball forward into the Scotland half, cut out by McGregor, out wide left for Robertson, back to Cooper, and now with Marshall.
It's good for McGregor. That's what we said talking with Richard pre-match again. We've just got to slide in front of that back three at times and stop that ball into Dabour or Zahavi. They're always looking for that. They are functional, that's the thing with them. We've got 3-5-2 and matched them, but they've played it, and you can see this is it's working to an extent for us, but you can see they've been used to playing it, whereas it's a little bit new and fresh to us.
There's no pace. There's not much width at the moment in the Scotland performance.
No, there isn't. They're being dominated. That's the problem. They're not being allowed to play, I don't think. Maybe in the break this time.
Yeah, John McGinn driving forward right down the middle of the pitch. He's midway inside the Israel half now, moving towards the box. Went for goal with the early shot. Did that take a deflection? It did. It is a Scotland corner. This is their first 38, almost 39 minutes in at 0-0.
Well, it's simple stuff, isn't it? It's John McGinn. He gets a head down and he runs forward and he pulls the trigger just outside the box, but it gets us up the park. We haven't been in that situation nearly enough in this first half, and it's just the determination and the grit of John McGinn. He's got virtually no one to support him though. That's the problem. It's Lyndon Dykes ahead of him, and that's it.
Corner will be taken by Robertson from the right hand side, left footed into the box. A free header. Oh, it's wide. What a chance for McTominay. He's on the 6-yard line. Free header. He's put it past the left hand post, and Scotland's big first half opportunity, their first opportunity, has come and gone on 39.5 minutes, and it stays Scotland 0, Israel 0. What an opportunity it was.
Scottish scored, boys, simple as that. I mean, he's freed up. However they do it, they're in a line of 4 and they just break, and I think it might have been Gallagher or Cooper that gets front area, the other 3 just break, and he's left all alone. McTominay 8 yards out. Well, if you're a centre half there in that position, just hit target at least. The keeper might save it, but they put it wide from there. It's a huge miss for Scotland.
He had a big enough target as well, Dodgy. It wasn't as if it had to be that tight, and that's what he's gone for. He's gone for really tight inside the post there, and he's totally free. There's 2 at the back post and only Beaton there to take care of him. He takes care of wasn't too sure who it was beyond him, maybe McBurney, not too sure, but McTominay was totally free, up, header, just get it in the forehead. Yeah. He's met it well enough, but he's put it by the post.
What a chance. The Scots will hope they're not left to rue that one. He diverted it towards goal. It's almost shaved the post, the outside of the woodwork on its way past. His manager thought it was in. Anyway, it stays 0-0 as Israel win a goal kick off McBurney as he attacked. Iceland 2-0 up now on Romania. What a start to the season for Gylfi Sigurdsson, whose Everton team are going great guns in the Premier League down south. Hungary still 1-0 up on Bulgaria. That's in the Path A playoff semi-finals. Bosnia-Herzegovina is still 1-0 up on Northern Ireland. Milan's Radi Krunic with the goal. 0-0 Republic in Slovakia. 0-0 important for this semi-finals. The other semi-final in the Path C path, where it remains Norway 0, Serbia 0 in Oslo. Small, very small number of supporters allowed into that one tonight. Okay, just about between 115 or 200 allowed in UEFA were allowing, as long as governments permitted, 30% of the stadiums to be full tonight. Not many have taken up that option.
It's an incredible game though, isn't it? We really have been dominated. They look the better team. Technically their movement is, and their anticipation and their linking play has been great. They haven't created too many chances, and then we get one breakaway. John McGinn just head down, runs forward, gets a deflection from the corner. Biggest chance of the game. Should be a goal, should be 1-0 up. We don't take it.
We kind of go route one to our strikers. They play into their strikers, don't they? Come out that back line and they get Solomon forward, Guassi on the other side, and then Zabour will drop off, or Zahavi, or one of them just comes short, and it gives us a problem. Their movement's good, whereas we get it and we kind of look just to pop into Lyndon Dykes and see what we can get, hopefully.
Yeah, foul there on McGinn, there by Natko, who's booked earlier. Will be a Scotland free kick midway inside Israel territory, right of centre slightly. Still 0-0, but we are hurtling ever closer to the half-time interval. Scotland 0, Israel 0. It's as tense and as tight and as taut as we thought it was going to be. And it is Robertson who is over this free kick. Seems to be the set play taker. I read somewhere earlier on that Andy Robertson, only one person has more Premier League assists since the summer of 2018 than Liverpool's Robertson. And a dream couple of years for the Scotland captain at club level. Can he guide the Scots to their first major finals in 23 years? Robertson's free kick, left-footed, clipped towards the back end of the box over there. McTominay tried to get onto the header down, and it's gone out for a throw-in to Scotland. The closing stages of the first half here on digital with BBC Radio Scotland and with 5 Live Sports Extra. We're live at the National Stadium in Glasgow, Hampden Park. It's 0-0 going in towards the final 90 seconds. In fact, we're into it now of the regulation 45 minutes, plus whatever the Romanian referee wants to add on at the end. Robertson working the 1-2 with McBurney down by the corner flag on the far side, and it's out for another Scotland throw, which is just maybe a bit level with the Israel 6-yard line. Bowled back by Robertson to McGregor, takes it to the byline, left-footed clip ball for Dykes. It is back to goal, couldn't control, and it's bounced off him and fallen beautifully there for Israel. And Dabour then worked out wide right infield. The first time ball there from Yeni is cut out, and then Dykes almost managed to cut out the follow-up pass out to Elhamed, but it's now at the feet of Elhamed, who moves it infield. We're in the final minute of the first half at 0-0. Scotland have shown a little bit more just in these last few minutes or so.
Yeah, I think they've started the game well, and they've certainly finished the first half strongly, but in between it's been a bit testing for them. I think Israel have been the better team. They've moved the ball about better, but if they can get something late in this first half with not too much longer to go, at least they're going in with a bit of confidence, and they're playing the game in the opposition half.
O'Donnell down by the right hand side corner flag, attacking the Israel box, just touching it away from the defender. Yeni into the box he goes. Has he won the corner? No, he hasn't. Goal kick only to the visitors. The fourth official down below us doesn't appear to have a board in hand, so there was a bit of attention for TB earlier on when he took a blow to the face, and it doesn't appear as though there's going to be any stoppage time. Indeed, there is the half-time whistle at Hampden, and we are no closer to finding out who is going to be going through to the Euro 2020 playoff final in Path C right now, because it's goalless at the half-time interval. But the steady cam down on the pitch is trained right on Manchester United Scott McTominay, who spurned the best effort of the game, you would have to say. The corner from Robertson. McTominay got himself free of his marker, but his header with 5 minutes to play in that first half almost shaved that left-hand post and its way behind for the goal kick. Robertson had a free kick as well, which wasn't a million miles away, but Israel have had the better possession in the game. They've looked a threat, as they did in the Nations League here in Glasgow a month ago. They've looked dangerous on both flanks. Dabour, Zahavi, Solomon. The movement's good, the passing's good, it's crisp. Scotland have struggled to get into the game. They've struggled to get a stranglehold of that midfield, and out wide they pose not too many threats, not as many threats as they perhaps will need to in this match if they are to get through to that playoff final. But at half-time at Hampden Park, it is Scotland 0, Israel 0. Thank you, Richard. Scotland used to always rely on a strong home record, but they've only won 5 of their last 12 games on Scottish soil, and a lot of that has been against the dross, if you like San Marino, consistently poor sides like Kazakhstan, like Cyprus. They actually only lost one of the last 12 home matches under Gordon Strachan, and that was against the then world champions Germany. Only 2 clean sheets in home games since Strachan was ousted, against Albania and San Marino. Every other team has scored against the Scots on Scottish soil, going back to the friendly against the Netherlands in Aberdeen almost 3 years ago. Doesn't look as though there's any changes for either of the sides. Israel will kick off the second half, and they're all white, going left to right, shooting towards the east stand. Scotland in all blue with red and white flashes, right to left, attacking the Mount Florida end of the stadium, the west stand, as Romanian referee Ovidiu Hategan prepares to get the second 45 minutes underway in what is Scotland's biggest international football match since the defeat to Italy here ended hopes of reaching Euro 2008 back in the autumn of 2007, as the match gets back underway. And it's a long one from the Israelis, and O'Donnell will sweep it forward, flicked on by Dykes. It breaks the way of Natko, who's managed to shift it forward to Dabour, out to Dasa on the right hand side. It loads the crosses into the Scottish box in the first half, as he did in the Nations League last month, as the ball's touched back to TB inside the centre circle, rolls it with the right foot, side football forward to Solomon, who controls and plays it out to the left there for El Hamid. And it's the Celtic defender, normally plays on the right hand side for his club side, normally on the right hand side of a back three for the Scottish champions, and he's put it out of play for a throw-in over there. So Marshall in goal for Scotland. McTominay, Gallagher and Cooper are the big central defenders. Robertson on the left, O'Donnell on the right, McGinn, Jack and McGregor behind Dykes and McBurney, and those two, Dykes has had some nice little touches. He hasn't been as involved in the game as he was as the lone front man when Israel were here last month, as the visitors pick up possession with Natko left of the centre circle, and he turns it to another Celtic player in near Beaton, along the deck out to Dasa on the touchline. He's forced back towards the halfway line, where he passes it into his own half for TB, who has it under control. Right foot pass out to Dasa on the right again, drops the shoulder, looks up at the penalty area as he shifts it infield to Dabour. 2-3 Scotland players around him, and it's worked its way back to Dasa, then to Dabour again, rolls it back to Dasa, infield it comes, first time ball Natko, and it's cut out by Callum McGregor, who goes down and wins the free kick for the Scots in the second minute of the second half. But it is goalless, and the longer the second half goes on at 0-0, and bear in mind Scotland haven't drawn a game 0-0 in 54 matches, going all the way back to Craig, who's in the studio's time in charge, when they drew 0-0 against the USA here in a friendly. It's Israel in possession down the left hand side. Solomon, and he's managed to pop it past McTominay down the line. O'Donnell trying to win the ball back for the Scots, but it's El Hamid rolling it back there to Yeni. Now it's back on that left hand side with Solomon, switches the play left to right to Dasa. Dasa then touches it back the way there to Beaton, rolls it forward, cut out well by Robertson. His clearance breaks to McGregor. Now it's with Jack, forward it comes. Jack was brought down there, and the referee is going to bring it back for a free kick, and it was Beaton on his old firm rival Ryan Jack, and it will be a free kick to the Scots midway inside their own half. 0-0. We play almost 48 minutes. Willie Miller.
Not a great deal in that one, I didn't think. I actually thought, Ryan Jack's followed through, and he's caught Beaton. He's played a poor pass forward, and the challenge has gone on a little bit after the ball's been played away, but I didn't see too much contact. Anyway, the referee's given the free kick. We haven't started the game as positively in the second half as we did in the first half, which is a little bit concerning, but maybe we'll grow into it. We do look as though, defensively we're pretty solid and sound, and kind of look as though we're understanding how we should be playing that five at the back, but most of the time it is five at the back as well, isn't it? You can't, both wing backs are definitely getting back really quickly to protect that wide area. Maybe that's been an instruction at half time from Stevie Clark, not so sure, but it certainly looks that way at the beginning of the second half.
Well, McBurney's won a free kick there, and El Hamid, I think it was it? He's having a look at the linesman on the far side, and he's quizzing the assistant, because it appeared to be he who made the decision rather than the referee. And what it's presented is Scotland with an opportunity wide on the right hand side to fling the ball into that Israel penalty box on 49 goalless minutes.
Certainly does, Liam. Hamid's not in the right, he's outside McBurney, should be inside him, and McBurney just feels the contact when he's inside him and just goes to ground and buys us a cheap free kick, but it's a free kick nonetheless. It can give us a good opportunity.
Stevie Clark stands at the edge of his technical area, the huge yawning technical areas here at Hampden, right down below us. Robertson on the other side of the pitch, ready to take this free kick as the Scots attack the goal to the left. Can they get something on the end of this? Cooper is up there, Gallagher is up there, McTominay is up there, along with Dykes and McBurney, right along that 18-yard line again. And there are 7 white jerseys around them though. Robertson, in it comes, there's a header, and the referee blows the whistle there, just as that initial header was McTominay. I think got his head to it initially, bounced off the back of a defender. The goalkeeper managed to clear. The referee blew the whistle though, and it's a free kick to the Israelis inside their own penalty box. 0-0.
I didn't see too much in that either. The referee's blowing very quickly. There's a lot of bodies there, they're all going for it. There's maybe about 4 or 5 making the attempt to get on the end of it. I think it's maybe McTominay that comes off his shoulder and goes towards the back post. Goalkeeper comes out and punches it away, but referee very quick. I thought he was wrong.
Israel are attacking up the other end. Solomon level with 18-yard line, passing it back the way. An opportunity perhaps. The Scots have got plenty back to defend this. It's back out wide left. El Hamid moving it infield. There to Zahavi, passes it into the box low. Cooper's there for Scotland though, and chips it away out into the north stand on the far side for an Israel throw-in. It's about level with the edge of the D of the Israel box on that left hand side. It's a poor ball from Zahavi, and he's put it straight back out of play for a throw-in over there on that far side. The Israelis looking to get to their first European Championship finals. The only major finals they've been to was the World Cup in Mexico in 1970 when they finished bottom of their group, even though they only lost once to Uruguay, drew the other 2, including against the eventual finalist Italy, who go on to lose to a Pelé and Carlos Alberto inspired Brazil in the Azteca. It's been a long time. They've had a couple of flirtations with it. They lost when Scotland lost the playoffs back in 2000. Billy's team lost to England. Israel lost to Denmark. As McGregor picks up for the Scots midway inside the Israel half, rolls it out wide left along the deck for Robertson. Back to McGregor, back to Robertson. Under pressure from Dasa, and Dasa's pinched it off, and Robertson reacts well though. McGregor trying to pinch it back himself there, and then Jack wrestles his man to the deck. Natko, and that will be an Israel free kick, and it will stay 0-0 on 52 minutes.
It's kind of scrappy, isn't it? And the longer this, I mean, that's come up to 52nd minute just now. You think the longer it goes on, both teams will be thinking, right, we don't want to lose it, and it'll be more cagey as the half goes on. So
more cagey,
yeah, because there's
that should be
nerves. Yeah. I know it can it get, but it is looking like that so far in this second half, and maybe just need a wee breakthrough, and that means that one of the teams will have to chase. Hopefully it's for Scotland, obviously, but the other team then has to chase the game. You get a better match, because right now it's pretty scrappy.
It's obviously cagey in the Uleval in Oslo as well. Goalless Norway Serbia. The winner of that plays the winner of this. And it's near Beaton for Israel, and he's fired the ball, pinged out to that left hand side for Solomon again. El Hamid offering him some support. Solomon skipping infield and then dinks it just to the right hand side of the D. It's going to break back. There's going to be a left foot shot which is going to go just over the crossbar from Ayal Galassa, left footed, aiming for that top left corner. And hear the applause from the Israel bench, and as they did last month when they were here for the Nations League, the players down there, the subs bench there, you can hear them singing in the background there.
Colin Stephen, engineers, I think, stuck the effects mic right next to them, just helps a little bit. Doesn't help, does it?
No, but to be fair, they're offering some decent encouragement, and you could hear them. I remember when Zahavi hit the net in the second half of that Nations League game, they erupted down there. That long ball from Marshall, it's picked up by Dykes off the McBurney flick, out wide right for O'Donnell, down the line for McGinn. McGinn's now at the right angle of the penalty area. It's a chip ball into the box, too high though for Dykes and McBurney. Robertson's not going to be able to keep it in play. He can only help it out for a throw into Israel deep inside the visitor zone half. We played 53 minutes 40 seconds, 0-0 at Hampden.
It's a really decent run by John McGinn into the channel, and he gets himself a bit of room down there as well, but it's just an awful cross into the box. Take a little bit of time, show a little bit of composure and just dink it into a dangerous area, but he does neither, and he puts it right over the top and out for the throw-in.
We do hope we're not looking back at the end of the night at that McTominay miss in the first half, edging towards half time, headed wide when he should have been wheeling away celebrating instead of leaving himself in anguish. It is Israel in possession on this right hand side. Galassa, who had that opportunity a moment or two ago for the visitors. He's found Dasa. Now it's Solomon. It's the Shakhtar Donetsk player, back to Dasa, and infield for Natko, plays it into a little area for Zahavi, who's dropped back a little bit to get onto the ball, and he has done. He's moved it into the Scotland box, blocked by Jack. And then John McGinn goes back to Robertson, fires it forward, but he's put it straight to Beaton. Robertson gets it back though. into McBurney, who was caught by Nir Bitton, who's going to go into the book for that one. Bitton, he waves his hand in a withering fashion at the referee, but he has to accept his punishment, which is a yellow card. We're on 55 minutes, Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, he's late, isn't he? He's late with the challenge there on McBurney. I don't think he can have any complaints, although he's complaining enough about it. But Bitton late in the challenge, he's given McBurney a sore one. The referee's absolutely right, and not only that, he had the challenge in Ryan Jack not that long ago as well, so I don't think he's got any complaint whatsoever.
Still talking though. The ref just left the scene now, and it will be a Scotland free kick down just inside their own half, just down below us and in front of the Israel bench. Andy Robertson over it, footed, takes it, he's looking for McGinn. He's made a decent run, he's inside the box here. McGinn up against Dasa, he's on the ball, twisting and turning and crossing, and it's blocked and out for a throw-in down on this near side to the Scots, about level with the Israel 6-yard line.
Yeah, it's good movement. I've seen that before, where you get a deep free kick, and whether it's a striker or a midfielder makes a channel run just off the ball and receives it, and it gets us up the pitch. He tries to just hook in across, it's blocked by Dasa for the throw-in.
Robertson takes, pulls it to Dykes, who nods it back out to Robertson, controls with the left, second touches the cross, a good one, beats everyone, breaks the way of Jack, who shoots, he tries to scuff it across the face of goal, no takers, McTominay's onto it inside the area, it won't break, and a huge shout for handball, it's back with Marciano. At least 6 or 7 Scotland players have appealed to the referee there. Now remember, VAR is in operation at this match tonight, as it is at all the playoff semis. That is a big moment potentially, and we'll get a chance to have a look at a replay of it ourselves here. It's obviously, at the moment, it's not being pulled back by the ref. Is he getting word in his ear? It was Scott McTominay inside the box, there was a couple went for it and it bounced.
Can't see anything.
Well, it's come off TB. It's come off TB's left arm.
He's actually trying to get his arm behind his back at the time.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way.
I think it's close to him as well. He's just fired it. We're hopeful, aren't we?
See them given these days, though.
Listen,
no.
You're quite right to ask the question, but it's close to him. It's fired at him. He's trying to get his arm out of the way. But we would think that was be very harsh.
57 played, 0-0, long ball, Robertson, the Scots have it back, McGinn on the edge of the box, left foot cross, too much on it for Dykes, who's going to go herring after it down the far side to try and keep the pressure alive. He's kept it in, but only to the benefit of Hatem El Hamid. He'll come away with it. 2.5 minutes shy of the hour here at Hampden. It is 0-0. That little penalty appeal G the Scots up as McGinn gets a yellow card flashed in his face for an off the ball challenge on Natco.
The big screen went up, you know, to get the referee's attention, and he got booked, didn't he, John McGinn? I think it was a late challenge, but the scream didn't help. I mean, I've got the cans on, you can hear it all the way up here at the back of the stand. It was a little bit late, but I don't think it warranted that, you know, amount of noise coming out of Natco's mouth. But John McGinn gets booked.
He does. 0-0 it is. 58 minutes played in this playoff semi. Israel haven't really pulled out a howitzer of a result away from home in a competitive game since beating France at Parc des Princes in 94 World Cup qualifying. Ayel Berkovic was among the goals in a 3-2 win. Soze Ginola were the French scorers as they came from behind to lead 2-1 before Israel scored twice in the last 7 minutes to win. They don't do much away from home since then. Long ball for the Scots, breaks the edge of the area. McGinn's effort's going to go wide of the right hand post, well wide in the end, past his old Hibernian teammate Marciano in the Israel goal tonight. A couple of yards wide, didn't really catch that with any kind of conviction, and it stays Scotland 0, Israel 0.
No, it's better though. He's getting himself, you know, forward. He's getting himself into positions where he can get picked out. He didn't catch that one properly, but you know, good play. Cooper down the left hand side, Robertson, and then the ball in, and just a little bit unfortunate, didn't catch it well enough, John McGinn, but getting into advanced positions.
Here's Bitton for Israel, up towards halfway. Zahavi, it's out onto this near side, too much on the pass though there, and that will be a throw-in as they try to work it out wide right for Galassa. Ryan Jack's giving it away in the middle of the pitch. That's not ideal because Israel are flooding forward, and it's Tabour moving towards the Scotland box. Wide left it goes, free and fight waiting in the middle. O'Donnell trying to prevent this cross coming in from El Hamid. He's trying to get it on that right foot to dig out a cross ball. Instead he rolls it back the way, and it is Zahavi who's the goal machine for this Israel side. About to tick on to the hour mark, the final half an hour of the 90 minutes. Galassi's gone down under the challenge of McTominay, but he clears the Scotland defender, being asked to play in defence again tonight. Here goes McGinn from the centre circle out to this near side, rolls it back into his own half for Robertson. He's taking his time, elects to pass it back to Cooper. He played the hour now. No goals as yet. It's a lovely spin by McGinn. It's a trademark spin. He's away from Beaton. Two waiting in the middle. Dykes and McBurney. In comes the cross. McBurney's header back towards Dykes. He would have been, I think, in an offside position. In any case, the Marciano holds on, and it stays Scotland 0, Israel 0. And it's becoming increasingly likely that if the Scots are going to win this game tonight, as long as he's on the pitch, it will be John McGinn, who's either the architect or the executioner himself.
Yeah, he's the one that's shown the energy. You know, it's not delicate stuff, it's pretty straightforward, but using his body there to make a really good turn, some poor defending, tucked in on it as well, but creating the opportunity, creating the space, a decent cross this time, but it just petered out. But he seems to be the man that's making things tick. He's maybe need a bit more energy for the other two in midfield. Maybe Callum McGregor doing the same sort of a thing could help as well.
Northern Ireland have equalised incidentally in Bosnia, and it's Aberdeen's Niall McGinn who's got it. 53 minutes, 1-1. Here come Israel, midway inside Scottish territory. Short ball to the left. Zahavi thought about the shot, might still shoot. Instead he passes it wide left for El Hamid. They're going to get it onto the right foot again. He's in the Scotland box, making for the byline, twists it back, level with the 6-yard line. He crosses in. Gallagher's header's half away, breaks to Dasa, blasted across the 6-yard area. It's all very messy, and eventually it's Gallagher who scoops it away out to this near side, where Robertson gets it under control and manages off the defender to work it to Ryan Jack. Anyway will do. The Scots trying to get themselves out of bother. It looked as though Israel were going to get a chance there. 62 played 0-0 as the Scots come forward. O'Donnell, long ball, looking for Dykes, gets his head onto it, might break to McBurney. Brilliant challenge, Dasa, to take it away from Ollie McBurney, whose eyes must have lit up at the prospect of scoring his first international goal. Away come the Israelis. 62 played, Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, but Dasa's done brilliant, isn't he? But he's had the shot up there, and he's tracked all the way right back to make the desperate tackle to stop that chance for McBurney.
Good defending. Well, you're loving
brilliant.
No, but it was, and you see the shot, and there's a bit of stramash in the goal mouth there for Scotland. They get it away, but then you're thinking this is an opportunity for the first time. They get in contact. It's a long diagonal. Dykes just has to knock it down. If Dasa doesn't get that touch Willie's talking about, probably Ollie McBurney scores. It's stretched in the last 5 minutes this game.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We shall find out. McTominay rolls it towards the edge of the centre circle for Jack. Forward to Dykes. First time out wide right for O'Donnell. O'Donnell looking for an option. Jack trying to give him on. Solomon's won a throw in back off Stephen O'Donnell on that far side. Midway inside the Israel half. Almost on 63. At what point, if you're Stevie Clarke, do you start to think, I need to make a little change to freshen it up, perhaps try and get that winning goal in the 90 minutes?
I don't know what's going through his mind just now, but I think he'll be happy with the second half performance. I think he'll be delighted with John McGinn and the energy that he's shown. Yeah, is opening up, but I think you have got to take a chance at some point, even with the personnel that he started with. I think there's a little bit of time before he needs to think and go to the bench. I think the team's doing okay just now. They just got to try to keep that tempo going.
He shows patience as well, doesn't he? Stevie Clarke.
I
don't think it's just the time for the substitute right now.
Do you know who's struggling to get into the game is Callum McGregor?
Yeah, not hardly mentioned him. I think that
hardly
myself.
touching it.
Yeah.
That's very unlike him. Magnificent football player. Here come Israel, swept out to the right there for Dasa. He's led over the edge of the D of the Scottish box. Side foot pass infield for Zahavi. Tries to squeeze it through, well blocked by Jack. And now it's Israel. It's a chip ball looking for Dabour, who might get onto it on the... Again, it's the acrobatics as he tries to keep it in play, but it's only into the side net on that right hand side of the goal. And on 64 it will stay Scotland 0, Israel 0. But we are heading towards the final quarter of the 90 minutes of this Euro 2020 playoff semi-final.
And even more nervous if you can get that. I think Jack and McGregor are concentrating so much on the defensive side and protecting that inexperienced back three that they've not really got on the ball to just even recycle it, turn it over, get it moving. It's all about McGinn's energy so far. We have gone direct and missed Jack and McGregor out, so maybe they're doing an unnoticed shift defensively, Liam, that we're not spotting, but they have been quiet, both of them.
Still goalless in Oslo between Norway and Serbia. They're about a minute behind this one. Tomlini's pass, is it going to get to Robertson? Robertson did get onto it but can only blast off an Israeli, and it bounces away back towards Liam Cooper, who's having to run out to this near side to get onto it. Rolls it back to his keeper, and it is Marshall. He knocks it forward there, looking for Robertson. It goes past goes past Dasa, doesn't go past Beaton, who finds Dasa, he sweeps it back to near Beaton. Nice little pirouette away from Dykes, very calmly done by Beaton, who was injured a week ago in Bosnia. Couldn't play for Celtic at the weekend after coming off, and in fact it was El Hamid who replaced him in Celtic's Europa League playoff success against Sarajevo last week. So it comes back there to Marshall, to Marciano, who rolls it out to that left hand side. Ball forward to Dabour. Gallagher's lost him, and now Zahavi's driving towards the Scotland box. There's a couple up with him left and right. He'll settle for the corner though. 66 almost played. Scotland 0, Israel 0. Bounced off Gallagher there.
They move it quickly though, don't they? And they can create opportunities, although they haven't done as well, I don't think, creating the chances in the second half as they have in the first half. But this allows them a corner, allows them an opportunity to throw it into the box. They haven't had too many corners, have they, Liam? Don't think they've.
No, this is their second. Scotland have only managed one as well.
Yeah, and the first one was a poor one. It was low to the near post, so they'll need to do better. And obviously Scotland, it's all about concentration at this time. They don't want to give them any chances at all.
Will be a corner to be taken by Natko, in swinger with the right foot, and it comes. It's McBurney with a commanding header away. Israel will knock it back onto halfway here for Dasa. Dasa looks up and shifts it out to Beaton on the near side. Beaton up against McGregor. It's turned back to Dasa inside the centre circle, and worked out to that left hand side for Yeni, out to El Hamid on the touchline. It's good football there by Israel again, and they've won another free kick. It's O'Donnell with the foul this time. This is about level with the edge of the centre circle, over that left hand side, and they've taken it quickly as well. And Willie doesn't feel it was a foul.
No, I felt it was a foul. I thought it was a yellow card.
Alright, okay. Well, wasn't given.
No,
just
it wasn't.
Free kick, and they've taken it very quickly, and it's inside the centre circle where it is TB who picks up. They're going to make a change in just a minute. Israel will get to that though when it is made. And it's another midfield player coming in as they work it into the edge of the box. It almost crept through to Dasa there. Robertson gets in the way of it and passes it up the line here for McGregor. Gets away from the challenge. Now Callum McGregor can get a run on the ball. Rolls it down the left hand touchline for Lyndon Dykes. McGregor's continued his run. McBurney and McGinn are up there too. Dykes can't find any of them though. He was under pressure, and now it breaks to Dabour midway inside his own half. He's come all the way back to get onto it. Then it's shifted out to Dasa on the near side. We're into the final quarter of this playoff semi-final, where it remains Scotland 0, Israel 0. Comes back to the edge of the Israeli box for TB. Now to Yeni and back to TB. 68 minutes on the clock. How you feeling, Billy Dodds, about this?
Not too worried, but you always have that doubt in your head. We've not been brilliant. They've not been great second half either. I said that we'd get even more cagey. It has done. There was a little stretch in the game for 5 minutes. It's them, and the chances are not taken. It's as if, right, okay, we certainly don't want to lose one, so we've got to be cautious. So that's the kind of feeling I'm getting just now.
Mohamed Abu's going to come on for Israel. He's going to replace the skipper Natko. It's a like for like change, and it's the Maccabi Haifa player who will come on. He was a regular for the under 21s. He's only 22. This is his first senior cap. He wasn't in the squad last month, but he played in his side's 7-2 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur last week in the Europa League playoff, and he's getting his first taste of senior international football as he replaces the captain Bibras Natko. He earned his 69th cap tonight, and it will be an Israel throw-in on this near side as Natko receives the applause of his teammates who sit on the bench. 21 minutes of the 90 to play plus injury time. Goalless as it is in Oslo. This is Dabour. Was he tripped by Gallagher? Yes, he was. Israel have a free kick down on this near side touchline. It's almost level with the D of the Scotland box, and we're getting into that point in the game when if you concede, you are really chasing it.
Yeah, but second half hasn't been good quality at all, has it really? It's been rather scrappy. Scotland been in it more, I must say, but it hasn't been very pleasant in the eye. But Israelis got an opportunity here to throw one into the box again.
Yeah, and Solomon is over it. And number 11 for Israel. Again, all the players, there's a gaggle of them in the D or along that 18-yard line. Solomon takes right foot. It's a very good delivery as well. No takers for Israel. It's gone behind. Is it a goal kick or a corner? It's a Scotland goal kick. 20 minutes to play. Scotland 0, Israel 0. Here on digital with BBC Radio Scotland across the frequencies on FM, on medium wave, online bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland, and on 5 Live Sports Extra. With 20 minutes, less than that now, of the 90 to go. Scotland holding on a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a dangerous one into the box, isn't it? You know, any Israeli player getting ahead in that, you know, you're only talking, maybe 8 yards out at best, and it's delivered brilliantly by Solomon. A little curl on it as well, just inviting his players to go and get ahead on it. Unfortunately for us, no one managed to do that.
It's a delivery you want from a set piece if you're a forward-think player, even a defender up there. Just go and meet it because the pace is on the ball. It's curled into a brilliant area as well, but luckily for us they all missed it in there because there was a few takers. Yenny, TB, few flying in there.
One ball from Marshall, breaks into the midfield. It's a cushion header from Jack. He's found Cooper rolling it back to Robertson, who takes the high road with a left foot, sliced ball forward, looking for McBurney. One there by Yenny, up into the air it goes, helped on its way by Abu, who's just on, and then off Cooper and out for a throw-in to Israel on this near side. And it will be Dasa to take it. Still Steve Clark hasn't made a change. Stephen Reid, one of his assistants, has joined him down in the technical area. It's Israel in possession. The stakes are so high here. The tension is palpable. It is Zahavi for Israel, eyeing up the box, shooting from distance, right down the throat of Marshall, who holds on. You have to be playing with confidence to try and take that one on. He got it on target, he got plenty power behind it as well. Marshall got everything he could behind it to hold on. With 18 to play, Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, straight at Marshall though, isn't it? You would expect David Marshall to take that one. He did, he saw it all the way. There was nothing in front of him. Maybe Zahavi could have been closed down a little bit quicker, but my money was always on the goalkeeper to take that one.
Scotland haven't had a 0-0 draw since 2013. They haven't had extra time in a game of football since 1961. And giving themselves enough opportunities for that. And Dundee United's Lawrence Shankland is going to come on in the first change by Steve Clark. Who's he going to replace though? It's McBurney. Another international comes and goes for Ollie McBurney without a goal. It's his 10th cap. Shankland, who has missed our goals for his club sides in the last few years. He has one for his country as well, of course, when he scored against San Marino. I'm talking about frightening goal scoring ratios. Haaland of Norway's got one of those. Zahavi has for Israel. Lawrence Shankland has scored 93 goals in his last 112 games for his club. Here come the Scots. Almost found Shankland. Shot at goal from O'Donnell's block to the edge of the box. Another shot is blocked. This time it's Jack. Israel trying to hit the Scots with a sucker punch counter-attack here. The push by Jack. That's a free kick as he won the ball back inside the centre circle. He's at least stopped the attack, which is Zahavi was leading there. 16 and a half left. Scotland 0, Israel 0.
He bundled through the back of Zahavi, Jack, but didn't think he had to. He got the ball, but anyway, they stop the break and Israel get the free kick. I'll tell you what, you're just talking about it. Gets something from nothing. Lawrence Shankland, we've said that before in the programme. Ball comes in, and if he takes a better touch, Liam, he probably looks at first time effort and goal, doesn't he? Just on the pitch, just touch and get his hit away. His touch is poor and just let him down at the vital moment. Lawrence Shankland.
And the free kick's gone the way of Israel. They've taken it very quickly. They've got it out on the near side with Dasa. And Dasa with the right foot passes it back to Beaton. Beaton to Dasa. Dasa's midway inside the Scotland half. It's pulled back to Beaton. And now with TB, who's got the captain's armband. Now that Nat goes off, it's out wide right for Beaton. It is so tentative out there. A goal now could take you through to the playoff final and to within one game of a major tournament finals. The Scots have been sadly lacking for almost 23 years. It will be by the time it comes around. Hampden hosting 3 matches, 2 group matches, plus 1 in the last 16. The Scots would be in the group with England, with Croatia, and with their opponents in the Nations League, the Czech Republic. Here's McGinn at the edge of the Israel box. He's gone with a little chip, but it's wide, well wide. Doesn't catch out his old teammate there, and it goes behind for the goal kick with 15 left. 75 minutes, Willie, on the clock on the big scoreboards to our left and right here at an almost empty Hampden, save for us, Slot, and the coaching staff and the stewards down below us. It is Scotland 0, Israel 0.
I think we've looked to more lightly in the second half, and I think most of it's came for John McGinn, and you can see exactly what he's trying to do there is with the left foot just chip Marciano. He doesn't catch it properly, goes wide of the goal, but if it's on target, it's causing the goalkeeper certainly a problem. But he's been really lively, showing a great attitude in the second half, and he's on it again.
Yep, again moving towards the box. He's got Robertson to his left. He's found the skipper, touches it back to McGregor midway inside the Israel half. Out to Robertson up against Dasa. He went for the nutmeg, but Dasa's won it back, and he's moving up towards halfway. He's had a very good game. Dasa, who plays his football at Vitesse Arnhem, we're sitting 4th in the Dutch top flight after a few games of this season. Your Daboer turning away from Cooper, who's trying to bite back at him. It's still at the feet of Daboer though. He's up at the right angle of the Scottish box, turns it back there to Abu with a square pass for Zahavi. Zahavi's worked it back out to the ever-willing Dasa. He's level with the penalty spot. Low ball cut across, blocked by McGregor and behind for an Israel corner. 76.5 minutes on the clock. Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, Daboer's asking the question again there to Dasa. Why don't you put it into the 6-yard box? He's cut it back towards 12, the penalty spot 12 yards out, where Daboer he's screaming for it. Put it into the penalty box. Let me go and get a touch on it.
Solomon's going to take the corner, right-footed out swinger from the right-hand side as Israel attack the goal to our right. He's got his right arm in the air, hoping one of his teammates can get in the end of this one, and it comes into the 6-yard box, headed away by McGinn, who's been the best player in a Scotland shirt tonight so far. As Beaton picks up in the centre circle and rolls it to Dasa to his right. 13 left of the 90. It's with Solomon. Nervy little period in the game this.
Yeah, they're having a good period, aren't they? Just make us sit back. And we talked about McGregor not being too instrumental in the game, but it was a vital block there, just doing that defensive shift that we were discussing earlier, Liam.
Robertson brought down. That will be a free kick to Scotland. Daboer's having a go at the assistant on the near side. It will be a free kick to the Scots, which is well inside their own half down on this near side. Still it's goalless between Norway and Serbia. Hungary heading through at the playoff final in Path A, 3-0 up against Bulgaria, away from home as well. Iceland 2-1 up against Romania. The Romanians have pulled one back in Reykjavik. Still 1-1 Bosnia Herzegovina and Northern Ireland. 0-0 Slovakia, Republic of Ireland. 0-0 Norway, Serbia. North Macedonia 2-1 up on Kosovo. The winner of that plays Georgia. Here come the Scots down the right. It's blocked and out for a throw-in to the home team over on that right hand side, level with the edge of the D of the Israel box.
Better from Stephen O'Donnell, wasn't it? I think he's looked nervous and shaky all night, Stephen O'Donnell, but looked as if he made his mind up there, snapped into the tackle, nearly produced a cross, but gets back on it here.
Chance to cross, he drops the shoulder away from the defender, rolls it back to Jack, right foot cross ball comes in, headed away by Dasa. McTominay trying to head it back towards the box, but he's succeeded only in giving it back to Israel, who have it on the left hand side. Zahavi's made a great run into the Scottish half, he wants it. Instead it's the short ball, and now it's with Abu inside the centre circle, looking to get it to the penalty box for Zahavi, but it goes straight to Gallagher, who read it very well indeed. It's now with Robertson driving away from Dasa. Fascinating battle between those two. It's now with Shankland on the left hand side, plays it off Dasa and out for a Scotland throw-in round about the halfway line on the near side. Shankland made his Scotland debut exactly a year ago in Moscow against the Russians. Showed some really decent touches in what was a very difficult night for Scotland. They shipped 4 goals, and it was right in the meat of that group. This is why we knew after they lost so heavily in Kazakhstan at the start of the last group, because they had Belgium and Russia right in the meat of that group. We knew it was going to be difficult, and sure enough they lost all 4 of those. And because they lost in Kazakhstan on match day 1, you knew they had to take at least 4 points from Russia. In the end they took 0.
We've had some painful trips there, haven't we?
Too right. Yep, it's been tough since Gordon Strachan left. Now, I think there weren't too many dissenters when they made the change at that point, but they really have regressed since Gordon Strachan was in the dugout for the Scots. Result wise, I mean, it's there in the black and white, as Jack finds McGregor. Forward it comes, looking for Shankland, cut out by Dasa. It's now with Beaton, forward there to Abu, who's trying to make himself away from McGregor. Robertson covering across, out for an Israel throw-in as we go into the final 10 minutes of the 90, and you cannot afford a slip-up now, Willie Miller.
No, I think patience is required. You've got to obviously take your opportunities to get forward when you can, but make sure that you don't leave it open at the back. Don't hand any gifts. They can look dangerous on the break. You certainly don't want to make yourself open, but at the same time, you've got to have a go forward. You've got to try and win this game. It's there to be won.
No shots on target for Scotland as yet, Willie.
We've been better in the second half though, Liam. We definitely have. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to that stage where you just don't want to give anything away. You've got to make sure that you're rock solid at the back.
Oh, if something goes in against you now, it's a horror show. Israel are going to make a change. Just one shot on target in the whole game, and that was the Zahavi effort not too long ago, which Marshall held on to. Dabur is it pinched away from him there by Cooper Shanklin. Nice little touch, he's found McGinn. Rolls it to the right for Dykes. Dykes, he didn't ever look like he had that under control, but he's done well to win it back off Dabur. Dykes trying to drive forward. The ball was won there. The ball was won. Scotland will protest, but Galassa won it for Israel. And now it is at the feet of TV, who rolls it into the centre circle. Will be moved out to Beaton. Beaton coming forward. Scotland though with a bank of 5 and a bank of 3 for them to get through. Now with Beaton switching the play right to left. He's done it expertly well. It's now with Solomon. Rolls it out wide left for El Hamid. Low ball into the box. Zahavi takes a touch, he shoots, it's blocked. It's still inside the Scottish penalty area here though. Worked out wide left again. It's a very deep cross. Dasa's underneath it with Robertson. Breaks to Dasa, who's volleyed it straight to John McGinn outside the Scotland box. That'll do for the Scots as Jack's pass is wayward, looking for McGinn. And the long ball there from Yaney's going to go behind for a goal kick to the Scots. 82 minutes on the clock. Scotland 0, Israel 0. It remains at the National Stadium, and Israel are going to make a change here, and Dabur is coming off. So quite a quiet evening for Dabur, relatively speaking. He's a terrific goal scorer, scored bucket loads for Salzburg when he was there. He had a spell in Spain last season. He went to Sevilla. Didn't really work out for them, though. He did score some Europa League goals for them in the group stage before they went on to, of course, lift the trophy for about the 100th time, and he'll be replaced by Weissman, Sean Weissman, who was a Celtic target during the summer transfer window.
And
ended up going to Spain himself. He will replace Dabur. The last 3 seasons in the Austrian Bundesliga, those two were top goal scorers, as Ryan Fazer replaces Ryan Jack. 0-0 it is here, the closing stages of the 90. I'm hearing that Norway have gone 1-0 up on the Serbians, and it sounds as though Milinkovic, Serbia have scored the goal. It's Serbia leading in Norway, and it's Milinkovic Savic of Lazio who's got the goal. 1-0 Serbia. As it stands, Serbia through to play the winners of this one. Ryan Fraser, who's just on and has just signed for Newcastle United, is in possession. Rolls it to O'Donnell, 2 waiting in the middle. O'Donnell has his cross cut out, but it is a corner on the far side to the Scots. It's 83.5 on the clock.
Again, better from O'Donnell, getting forward now at every occasion. Gets the corner again. McGinn is now going back to just sit there with Callum McGregor, and it's Ryan Fraser who's just going to play off the 2 strikers. So another forward switch, although McGinn was showing the most energy, Willie. That's kind of blow, but he'll still get forward from that deep position.
Always good to see Ryan Fraser on the pitch. You just feel he just brings that something a little bit different to the table. Scotland corner, yeah. Scotland corner, in swinger coming up from Robertson. 6 minutes left, and it comes. It's a good area, and it flashes wide. The left hand side, is it Gallagher who's got his head onto it? It's gone past the left hand post, and it will stay at 0-0 at Hampden. I'm not sure how much Gallagher knew about that. He was under severe duress.
He couldn't get a jump at it. You know, it was tightly marked. He wasn't getting any kind of aerial power in it to come off the top of his head and went way beyond the far post.
So Norway 0, Serbia 1. The winners of this, as it stands, will be going to Belgrade next month. for a place at Euro 2020. There's a header there to Beaton. Under pressure he is from Shankland. He's managed to work it out to Dasa on the right. Into the final 5 minutes of the 90. Coming up to Craig Levein time. He reckon the Scots could win this late on. Will that come to pass, or are we going to extra time? It'll just be the second time the Scotland national side has gone to extra time in a long time since the last one. Israel coming forward again. There's a header away by McTominay. McGinn goes down. Free kick to Scotland, and that takes the pressure right off. McTominay's looked a lot more comfortable in the second half, hasn't he, in that defensive position that he's being asked to play for in his national side.
No, he has, yeah, absolutely. He's been comfortable second half in particular. First half maybe a couple of times, but nothing too extreme. But in the second half, he's looked accomplished. It looks as though he's slotted in quite well. In fact, the three of them have played well. They've linked well together. They seem to have put up a good barrier. But I also think that the two fullbacks have helped them as well. They haven't been really exposed in wide areas too much. But Stephen O'Donnell's now beginning to get forward more, and so is Andy Robertson down the other side.
Yep, they've got help. Well, certainly O'Donnell does. Fraser's gone out to the right. There's a long ball. There's Shankland trying to knock it back to the edge of the box. Dykes couldn't free himself of his man though, and Israel can come forward with TB. Sliced ball though. Cooper's header into the midfield. McGregor helps it out to Robertson on this near side. Robertson back there to Cooper. He was caught by Weissman. The referee allowing the advantage because the Scots have the ball in the Israel box. Dykes works it out left. It's Fraser. Chip ball looking for Robertson. Header away there by Beaton. It's better from Scotland there. The better side in these closing stages of the 90 minutes. Can they win it? Can they win it before extra time? Ryan Fraser for Robertson. Left hand side of the box. Fires it across. Blocked by Beaton. Out it comes to Fraser. He couldn't get in any contact on the ball, but he did leave something on Wiseman, and that's going to be a free kick to Israel. Is he going to yellow card someone? Who's the yellow for?
Well,
he's booked Weissman.
We had a discussion about this.
It was the one of McTominay, wasn't it?
Yeah, but if you play, I think it was Al that was saying, if you play the advantage, you can't go back and book the player, but obviously you can.
I thought Cooper on this side played it. I thought he could have bought it a little bit, saw it coming and just jumped up, but make sure Weissman gets a yellow card.
2.5 to play, plus any injury time. And if there are no goals, there will be another half an hour. There might be penalties if he can stand it. As Israel pick up with Zahavi. This pass is blocked by McGinn and out for a throw-in on the far side for Israel to level the edge of the centre circle inside their own half. It has to be a winner tonight. Well, there's no second leg. Norway have levelled against Serbia in Oslo, so that might well be going to extra time as well. Highly likely now, you would have to say. 88 minutes played here at 0-0 on Sports Sound, on digital with BBC Radio Scotland across the frequencies, and on 5 Live Sports Extra. It is Israel coming forward. Zahavi works it out wide left. It's now at the feet of El Hamid. He's in the box, he's driven it, a goal, it's deflected and it goes wide up for a corner off a Scottish head. That looked just for a split second like it was heading for the net, and if that goes in, Scotland are out, you would think.
Was it McTominay? Willie gets, he's cut in El Hamid and it's travelling, and McTominay gets a head on it, and Marshall, because we're here, we're just looking at his body language, he's looking at it, but luckily for us it goes wide.
There's a corner going into the final minute of the 90. Right footed, in it comes. It's Solomon's delivery. It's headed away in the 6-yard box by McGinn. Shankland trying to get onto it. Dasa's done him though, really good play. He's won it and then nicked it away from him. Looks up, then another little dummy there on Shankland. He turns, he moves it out wide right for Solomon. Level with the penalty spot. Solomon looking to take on Robertson. Stabs it out to Dasa. It's the final minute of the 90 here. It's Israel coming forward. It's headed away by McTominay inside the box. Dykes helps it on its way up towards halfway, and then Yaney touches it out to El Hamid again on the left, and Israel are finishing the stronger here, moving towards extra time. The Israelis have it at the edge of the box with Weissman, tries to stab it through into the Scotland box, but they've got enough bodies in blue there, and it's cleared up towards Ryan Fraser by O'Donnell. Fraser's early ball looking for Dykes, couldn't find him. Read there by Yaney, and Israel in possession. We'll find out what the injury time's going to be. in just a moment or two.
Final ball cross from both teams tonight's been poor, isn't it? Because you can't say both have not got in good areas, whether it's centre of the pitch looking for a pass through, or especially wide and a cross coming in. It's been really poor.
There's a minimum of 3 minutes. 3 minutes have been added on at the end. And that Norway goal scored by Rostov's Matthias Norman, late on cancelling out the Milinkovic-Savic opener for Serbia. We're into injury time, they'll be into injury time pretty soon, and it's Israel with Dasa. They're certainly finishing the stronger of the two teams. Dasa's cross comes in, McTominay with the clearance, but it's more height than distance. It comes out to this near side. Robertson down with the corner flag, can only put it out for an Israel throw. Next goal the winner. The referee just telling Dasa he's further up the pitch to take this throw. It's normally been telling them to move up the other way, away from goal. This time he's moved them towards the corner flag. It's a bit level with the penalty spot in the end up. Dasa takes it, and it's a short option for Solomon. Now back to Dasa, looking for the cross, level the 18-yard line, low ball back to Beaton. Scots forcing them out. 1 of the 3 minutes of injury time has come and gone. TB right to left of the circle, back to TB's inside his own half, right to the left hand side, and will be collected here by Yaney. Shifts it infield to TB again. Scotland sitting back right now, about a minute and a half left of the injury time. It's Israel in possession. El Hamid on the touchline on the far side, infield to Zahavi. Zahavi moves it left to right, and now it's opened up a little bit for Nir Beaton, moving towards the Scotland box. Finds, oh no, he doesn't find Dasa, who lost sight of the trajectory of the pass, and it goes past him and behind for a goal kick, and it will stay Scotland 0, Israel 0. And Steve Clarke turns away from the pitch, moves back towards his seat in the south stand here, or at least moves back to speak to Stephen Reid, and he can breathe a little sigh of relief. The pressure was beginning to build there.
Yeah, they had a good spell of it as well, didn't they? And they beat on it. Just the pass was too strong, you know. It was on to play it to Dasa, just roll it in front of him, but it powered it, and they put it out for the goal kick. It was a good opportunity for Israel, but not taken.
There's about 40 seconds left of the injury time, and Israel have bossed things these last 5 minutes or so. Scots can't get out of their own half. They're being pinned back, being hemmed in. It's an Israel throw, level with the edge of the centre circle on the far side, maybe a few yards further forward than that by the time El Hamid takes it. Looking for an option in White. Weissman trying to give him that. His throw's going straight to McTominay though. McTominay clears up towards halfway, but it's straight back into Israeli possession. It's now with Beaton and out to Dasa. 10 seconds from extra time. Will Israel get one final opportunity? They're in possession here. Beaton and Dasa exchange passes. The referee looks at his watch and blows the full-time whistle. The 90 minutes are over, and for just the second time in the Scotland men's national team's history, their game is going to extra time. The only other time was back in 1961 in what was a playoff in neutral Brussels against Czechoslovakia for a place at the 1962 World Cup in Chile. The Czechs won it 4-2 after the extra time period before going on to finish runners-up in the tournament itself. The Scots struggling to fashion chances, no shots on target. That will be a concern for Stevie Clarke, though Israel only really had one of their own in that second half for Zahavi. And we are left now at 90 minutes with 30 minutes potentially penalties ahead of us as well. Looking back at that Scott McTominay header towards the end of the first half, we can only hope that whilst it's denied the Scots the chance to win this playoff semi-final in 90 minutes, that it does not deny them the chance to have a go at getting back to a major finals for the first time in 23 years when we reconvene in just about half an hour or maybe even 45 minutes time, because after 90 minutes here at Hampden in this Euro 2020 playoff semi-final, it's finished Scotland 0, Israel 0. Yeah, and Scotland will get the first period of extra time underway in just a moment. We have to wait for our TV colleagues. We were told just after full time that there would be a 5-minute interval, which is just about over. So yeah, Callum Patterson on for Lyndon Dykes. And he's just joined Sheffield Wednesday. Patterson, they're having a horrible time of it in the Championship. And he comes on for cap number 13. Goes Patterson, former Hearts player. He had that spell at Cardiff City. When he started his career, he was a right back at Hearts, but he was converted by Neil Warnock, I think it was, to play in that number 10 role, I think. But he sees himself, and he said it in the build-up to this, he sees himself as the striker now. He's come on for Dykes, who faded as the game wore on there. Stevie Clark took him off actually against the Israelis in the Nations League last month. So we'll keep up to date with what's going on elsewhere. There's a whole host of them have gone to extra time. That's unsurprising when you consider how high the stakes are in these games, that these matches are going to extra time. The Path A ones are done. Hungary and Iceland have both won those ones, but Northern Ireland into extra time against Bosnia-Herzegovina, Slovakia, Ireland, Norway, Serbia 1-1. They're all back underway. We are now here with a couple of minutes behind those ones, and it's the Scots in the all navy blue, and they'll go left to right at the start of extra time against the Israelis all in white. Slight breeze in the air with relatively benign conditions as Scotland pick up their long ball from Gallagher. That's going to sail out for a throw into Israel over on that far side. So Marshall in goal, McTominay, Gallagher, Cooper, O'Donnell on the right, Robertson on the left. Then you've got McGinn, McGregor, Fraser, who looks like he's going to potentially play in the hole behind Patterson, and Shankland, who are the front two now, as Dasa can keep that in play on the far side. It's going to be a throw into Scotland. They're up the pitch here all of a sudden because of that unforced error by the Israelis. Robertson takes the throw in, short to McGregor, back to Robertson. He's rolled it back into his own half for Cooper, who elects to go back to his keeper.
I can understand the Dykes sub. He's worked hard enough, but as we said at half time, no real service. Bring a bit of freshness. He's certainly got pace. Callum Patterson as well, but we've not, listen, Marciano's not a save to make. There are no shots on target, but just nothing to do.
Absolutely nothing.
It's been poor quality.
Put a hammock up between the sticks, Willie.
Yeah.
Off there, Marciano.
The second half has been, but they haven't been any better. Liam either, you know, hasn't excited at all, has it?
Here comes Fraser down the right hand side of the box, looks up to a poor ball by Ryan Fraser. He's normally on the money. He only had Shankland to hit really. Israel eventually get it clear. Slipped up the pitch by Abu.
That's another story of the game, William. The final cross, as we were saying, is just letting them down. So we're talking about strikers, no shots on targets, but no real great supply all night for both teams.
From the centre circle with McGinn. It's the Aston Villa midfielder out to the left hand side for McGregor. Now for Robertson, spun away from Dasa and wins the free kick. Could have been away there, Robertson, had Dasa not brought him down, but it's a free kick right on the touchline in front of the north stand over on that far side. We're on 92 minutes now, 2 minutes into the first period of extra time at Hampden. I think most people would have probably predicted it would go this way. This would be the direction of travel. What can Robertson conjure up with this free kick over on that left hand side? Tominey and Cooper, Gallagher are all in there as well. Patterson's a good target, and it comes, might break to Patterson's, forced it towards goal, but it goes wide of the left hand post with the left foot, and it will stay Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, I just wonder if he could have taken a touch there. You can see what he's trying to do with the left foot, just try to dink it towards the back post as it's come to him. It's decent delivery from Robertson into the box. It wasn't really cleared properly. Falls to Patterson at the back post. He tries to be delicate with it a little bit, like John McGinn when he tried that chip in the second half, but the same end result, just going by the far post.
Israel in possession on the far side. It's a foul this time by Shankland. Israel free kick at level of the edge of the centre circle, just inside the Scotland half over there, and Dasa will be over it, and it's nicked back to Beaton, who plays it to TB. He's got Yaney on the left in space, and up towards the halfway line. Instead he elects to pass it back to TB, right footed out to that right hand side for Near Beaton. Steps across halfway. Now it's with Dasa. Dasa's pass is cut out. They might still break here for the Israelis as they try and get the pressure on, but that goes out of play for a throw, and Abu couldn't get there. It's out for a Scotland throw. It's a bit level with the penalty spot, and it's going to be Robertson over it. It's so flat. Now that's got to be down to the fact that this is such a big game, the magnitude of it, because Scotland and Israel right now, and it's a simple fact, they don't generally have big shootout matches for major finals anymore.
They don't, but listen, it's got to come from within. I know, and you've got to be cautious, you've got to be tactical, you've got to be patient, all those words, so that can make it flat as well, but there's got to be self-motivation somewhere, especially now, and you don't want to be going to penalties, to go and try and get a winner and create something, get something going.
Headed away by McTominay at the edge of his own box. Solomon's going to get onto it though. Steals away from Shankland, then from McGinn. He's such a tricky customer. Solomon rolls it out to Dasa. Solomon gets it back to Dasa. Midway inside the Scotland half. Back to Zahavi. Into his own half for TB. Rolls it along the deck to Dasa on the right. Infield for Galassa. Under pressure from Shankland. He's worked it back to Dasa on the right flank. 5 minutes into extra time. No goals. It's been the theme of the night. And then TB strokes it out to this near side. It will eventually come to El Hamid. He has it on the right boot, and he's got options. Into the midfield it comes. First time ball back by Galassa into the centre circle for TB. Rolls it out to Beaton. Scotland seemingly happy to let Israel have the ball here. Could be a dangerous game. Here's Zahavi trying to burrow away there from Gallagher. He's going to get it back. He's gone for the chip for the top left corner. It's over the bar, and it will be a Scotland goal kick. But again, you've got to be a man with high confidence to attempt an effort like that. It was a magnificent little chipped effort, which went about a foot over the crossbar. Almost 6 minutes into extra time. It remains 0-0, and Declan Gallagher is a problem.
Yeah, just on the edge of the box as well. It was an intelligent effort, but going over the bar. Gallagher, I think it was a head knock perhaps, just as they both turned. I think it was a substitute, Wiseman, that bumped into him, and he's getting some attention. But you're right, Scotland seemed happy just to sit back there, just to allow Israel possession.
How often do we see Steve Clarke's Kilmarnock side do that though? To great effect. They pulled out some superb results, pulled some real rabbits out of hats at times when he was there.
And I know he works on it, just have your 5 minutes where we'll just sit and soak up a little bit, but it's dangerous. They pass the ball better than us now. At the final third, I think both teams have talked about not wanting the goalkeeper, final cross, final little bit has not happened tonight, but no doubt they're comfortable in possession, aren't they? Their movement is really good. They know how to get on the ball. Their touch is brilliant. They know when to dip the shoulder, take it out the other way, and they'll switch it from side to side. They're okay going back the park as well. They'll go back and they'll play it the other side until they get an opportunity to do something. But there's been very little opportunities to do anything in the game from either side. That's why it's been a bit torturous up here watching it.
A bit. Yeah, we're trying to make it sound as good as we possibly can, but sometimes you've got to call it as you see it. As Declan Gallagher comes over, I saw Ryan Porteous making his way. He took his tracky top off. It looked like he might be coming on, and Gallagher's going to give it a go by the looks of things. That long ball for Patterson, who goes down with free kick. Porteous is being readied, so it looks like he is going to come on. We played 7.5 minutes of the extra time. It's 0-0 as Fraser, good plays away from his man, right foot cross ball comes in. It's too deep again though, can't find Shankland. Shankland rolls it back to Robertson, finds McGregor, left hand side of the pitch. McGregor scampers over to the far side, passes it back there to Cooper. He showed too much of it to his opponent, but gets away with it. It bounced back off. Galassa breaks the way of McTominay, rolls it out to Ryan Fraser on the near side. Fraser infield to McGinn. McGinn looking for an option, eventually to pass it back to Gallagher. I think he'll be coming off in just a moment. Here's McTominay, forward to Patterson. Patterson out to O'Donnell, down the line for Fraser, back to O'Donnell, moving in field, poor ball, couldn't force it through to Shankland. Israel can clear, now it is with Wiseman, the Israel number 9. Short ball to Zahavi on the right, just on the halfway line. 98.5 minutes on the clock. As that is picked up by Nir Beaton and out to Dasa. Scotland 0, Israel 0, and Dasa's put the ball out to allow attention to one of his teammates who is down. Can't quite see who that is. There's a couple in the way. Anyway, Scotland 0, Israel 0, stoppage in play. It's been scrappy stuff.
Yeah, let's go back to Fraser. He looked good when he got in that wide right channel.
It's Galassa who's down, incidentally.
Yep, and he just knocked it past his man, and again you think, go on, give us something, just one thing, that's all it'll take. It'll take a mistake tonight or one bit of brilliance, and Fraser, even though he's fresh, couldn't produce it. Hits the cross too deep, but it's frustrating at times. But listen, we can still nick it, we can still win it, whether it takes penalties. We can still lose it as well. That's the worrying thing.
Yeah, he could have maybe drilled that one across the face of the goal, you know, rather than the kind of a little lob wedge towards the back post, and there's nobody there. Yeah, a little dink instead of maybe just drilling it, and it can come off a defender as well and end up at the back of the net, because you got yourself into a really good position, but again wasted the final delivery. It's not great.
No, it isn't. And Israel are going to make a change. I think Galassa's actually just going to be taken off now, and Eli Elmkees is going to come on. Again, another like for like change for the Israelis. Elmkees will come on. This is his 5th cap. Plays for ADO Den Haag in the Netherlands. Serbia going ahead again in Oslo in extra time. Norway 1, Serbia 2. I keep saying the winner of that plays the winner of this. We're closer to finding out who the winner of this is, but only chronologically, because we're ticking away towards half time and extra time. Elmkees comes on and plays Galassa. Took the knock just a moment ago. Scotland throw in out wide on the left to be taken by Andy Robertson. Level the edge of the centre circle, and then we're just going to give it back to Israel. There will be a goal kick. Ryan Fraser, after Das had put it out of his own accord. So 4 minutes left of the first period of extra time, and if anything, the standard of play out there has got worse since extra time began. And a chilly old night at Hampden. It will be an autumn of discontent for Stevie Clarke's national side. There haven't been too many near misses. They've been poor in qualifying campaigns for the majority of those lost years at major finals, having got used to them in the 70s, 80s and 90s. There was the 2 playoffs, England and Netherlands, and there was the points tally that they took from the group when they were in with France, Italy and Ukraine. They were all at the very least quarter finalists at the previous World Cup. That points tally would have taken them to any other major finals during this run without. And we got anywhere near since then, as Solomon picks up on the left hand side. 3 minutes of the first half, extra time left. McTominay holding on to Solomon. It's a dangerous game, could have given away the free kick there. The referee was in a good position. Solomon continues though. Now it's with Zahavi, turns it to his right. There's a couple waiting in the middle. It's out wide right for Dasa. Dasa looking across. Dasa forced back the way. Infield it comes there to Zahavi. Zahavi touching it back out wide right. Israel are being patient here. They're happy to be patient.
We were happy to sit deep as well. I thought for Dasa and Zahavi there was a cross on, and they just didn't want to put it in. Liam.
2 for Milinkovic-Savic, by the way. 2-1 Serbia in Norway. Gallagher's headed away. He had to get there. There's the Elmkees, the sub, who's just on in behind him, as that's cleared out for a throw into Scotland. This is hard work. It's hard work for us watching.
Yeah, when you get opportunities to put it in the box, you think that you would put it in the box, and you know. But on the other hand, that's when you're talking about the Israelis. For Scotland, you know, be a little bit more aggressive. They're just sitting back, aren't they? They seem to be filing back. You know, quite happy just to sit on the edge of their box, invite Israel to have all the possession, and Israel aren't doing anything with it. It might be the right tactic, but I think if you want to win the game, you would hope to maybe get yourself up the park into the opposition half.
It's going to be a couple of minutes of injury time. I think I just got a preview from the referee on the 4th officials board. Here comes Israel down the left with El Hamid. He rolls it back to Solomon. And then infield it comes, first time ball there. Abu, back it comes to Yeni. And then he sweeps it back into his own half for TV. Out to Yeni again on this left hand side. Short ball for El Hamid, midway inside the Scotland half. Infield for Zahavi, what a flick of his boot, couldn't quite find a teammate. Goes out for a Scotland throw in on the near side. The referee is having a word with someone, I think.
He's going to talk to Solomon. He's having a moan up at him. He thought McTominay was too tight to him, and he was moaning at the referee that McTominay was pulling him. But anyway, he's just having a word with the two of them. I would like to see, I don't know if it's just the stage of the game, Willie, and you're managing it where a minute before the half time, the extra time, you're saying, right, let's don't lose one now. I'm hoping that we have a wee go, because I mean, it's a lottery of penalties, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, unless you're the manager of a winning side in penalties, and they say it's not a lottery.
Yeah, but he's not. That's after the
I know. It's Scotland with Shankland. He's managed to pop it out wide right for Fraser, level with the penalty spot. Looks up, early ball comes in. Patterson hangs and it's headed away. Breaks to McGregor on the edge of the box. Cut out by Dasa. Robertson keeps the pressure on. Sweeps the ball into the box with the left foot. Comes to Fraser on the right hand side. Heavy touch from him. That will allow Israel to clear their lines as Fraser slides in on Solomon, and it goes out of play for a throw-in down on the near side for Israel. It'd been interesting to see where that Callum McGregor shot was going. He is so capable from that kind of distance of the spectacular, but it stays Scotland 0, Israel 0.
Yeah, he's caught it well, isn't he? It's a little defensive header. I think the goalkeeper's getting it. I think Marciano would have got it at the end of the day, but it was Dasa, I think it was, that managed to get the block on it. Just 4 or 5 yards out from goal, but it was well in target.
It is 2 minutes of injury time at the end of the first period. It's 0-0 at Hampden. Northern Ireland are 1-1 in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and the Republic of Ireland 0-0 in Slovakia, both in extra time. Northern Ireland, if they can come through, would be at home in the playoff final. And there's a throw-in. I wouldn't be surprised if all these ones that at an extra time do end up going to penalties. Though Serbia, through Milinkovic-Savic's second, are 2-1 up on Norway and play the winners of this one. And Serbia, going by what we've seen tonight, will be very confident if they come through that to play one of these two. Here comes Robertson down the left hand side of the box. He's chipped the ball in, comes off Beaton, breaks there to Shanklin, his shot's blocked as well. Israel clear. It's now with Fraser at the edge of the box. Down he goes. It's going the other way though. It's an Israel free kick at the edge of their own box. Ryan Fraser, they've both actually taken a sore one there, but it's gone against the Scotland player, and it's an Israel free kick indeed. Just to rub salt in the wound, it's a yellow card for Newcastle's Fraser.
Ryan Fraser thinking that it was a free kick on him rather than him giving it. Both of them come at the same time, but I think Fraser's trailing leg comes through. I think that's the problem. That's what the referees penalised them for. I think they meet it at the same time, but Fraser whips that left peg through and takes the player out, and that's why it's really a free kick.
It's a right decision, isn't it? First you're hoping 22 yards out, 23 yards out are going to give it to us, but you can see it was Fraser that caught the Israeli player.
Half time and extra time. Scotland finishing the first period quite strongly there. Callum McGregor's effort, it was certainly on target. There was plenty behind it. The defender got in the way, which made sure Fair Marciano didn't have a save to make in the end up. But as I was saying, it's been so tough going out there for the players, for everyone to watch, for people to listen to as well this evening. Half time and extra time. The scoreline remains as it has done all night. Scotland 0, Israel 0 at Hampden. Yeah, and the second period of extra time is underway. You just wanted to just double, triple, quadruple check that they hadn't been involved in a penalty shootout before. They might be involved in one in 15 minutes time. As McTominay's pass is wayward and goes out for a throw-in. No further changes to the teams at the half-time and extra time interval. Will be a throw into Dasa on the near side, about midway inside his own half. Interesting the comparison that has been made there between this one and the Norway-Serbia match. This one has been so tentative as that ball from Weissman comes through. It's blocked there by McTominay. Gallagher goes back to his goalkeeper, and David Marshall thumps it long with the right foot up towards Patterson. Break into the midfield. Abu's managed to knock it through here for the Israelis, and they have it with Solomon. Wide left for El Hamid, who's going to get it back, and now Israel have plenty forward in support of this attack. It's spread back to Beaton midway inside the Scotland half. He's gone from distance, but it's well wide of that left hand post. Seen him score some long rangers for Celtic in his long Celtic career now. He's been in Glasgow for 7 years, more than that, as it remains Scotland 0, Israel 0. And just a welcome as well to BBC Radio 5 Live listeners who've joined us here on BBC Radio Scotland and on digital, and 5 Live Sports Extra, been tuned into this match here at Hampden Park. Scotland 0, Israel 0. Second period of extra time is upon us. The stakes could not be much higher. They will only be higher if Scotland can get through to that playoff final, which right now would be in Belgrade against Serbia next week. Long ball forward for the Scots, which is cut out by Nir Beaton on the edge of his own box. Comes the way of Robertson, rolls it down the left hand touchline here for Fraser. Level with the penalty spot, down he goes, fouled by Bassa, and referee Hategan gives the free kick to Scotland, which is about level with the Israeli 6-yard line. We've played 2 minutes of the second period of extra time. The Scots could make life so much easier for themselves if they could find the net in the very near future.
Can we produce something of quality? I know it's a free kick, but just something in a good area that give us that opportunity.
No, absolutely. You know, and I thought Ryan Fraser bought the free kick as well, didn't he? He saw the little challenge coming. There was a minor touch on him, we went down, but you know, if Andy Robertson can whip this one in, it's, you know, a decent opportunity. You know, get the quality of the cross into there, and at least give the rest of the players an opportunity to go and attack it in a dangerous spot.
Only one player has more assists since summer 2018 in the Premier League in England than Andy Robertson. Left footed, bends it in towards the back post. It's met by Gallagher, goes up into the air. Again, more height than power on it, and it's cleared by the Israelis. And it's Abu on the slide who manages to get good power in the clearance, and it comes all the way through to David Marshall via Stephen O'Donnell. And it is Marshall, short ball there to McGregor. 3 minutes into the second period of extra time. 0-0 it remains. Long ball for Patterson. A foul there by Patterson though. And a few of those 50-50s have gone against the Scots tonight. There will be an Israel free kick, and it's a foul there by Patterson on the centre back and the man with the armband, TB.
Yeah, I think he's got to be a bit cuter than that when he's going up in the air. You know, for me it's a free kick. You know, he's not anywhere near the ball. He's coming in the back of the defender as well, and he takes him out, and I think the referee's got it right.
I just hope we have a go in this second period of extra time. Try to create a few chances. I mean, just don't want to get to that scenario. Listen, if we win in penalties, that's fair enough, but don't want to get to that scenario where Israel go and beat us in penalties and we've not really had a wee go at any point in this extra time.
He's beat on, trying to thread it through. It's cut out though, breaks to McGregor. Now he knocks it back to the edge of his own box for Gallagher. Good play there by Declan Gallagher, stepping out well. Now he's found Fraser on the left hand side, brought down by Bassa. The referee's happy with the challenge though. Fraser has his arms outstretched on the deck, wanting the free kick and not getting it. Israel come forward on that left hand side, and then they just check, and they've got an option to play it forward. They've elected to go back instead, and it's now with TV. He plays it to Yeni to his left. And there's Yeni of Maccabi Tel Aviv for the ball forward there. The touch from Zahavi, who is Israel's goal machine. Hasn't had much of a sniff tonight though in this tight match. Shanklin brought down on the far side, right on the halfway line, and that will be a Scotland free kick. It is Scotland 0, Israel 0. There's little over 10 minutes of football left to be played, and then it will be penalties.
You're giving it benefit of the doubt, calling it football, to be perfectly honest, Liam. It's not getting any better. In fact, you'd have to say it's getting worse, scrappy, decision making, players just running into each other as well. It's crying out for a bit of quality.
Tired, nervous, you can throw all those in, but there's nobody really looking as if they're going to grab it and say, I'm going to do something, I'm going to create something either.
Yeah. Serbia 2-1 up on Norway. They play the winners of this, and if they can see that through and they watch this back, they're not exactly going to be a quivering wreck going into that final next month. Scotland trying to play with some kind of fluidity here, and it's with Fraser on that right hand side, gets the cross in, it's cut out as they pretty much all have been tonight. Abu this time getting in the road of it, and Israel come away up towards the edge of the centre circle before it's fed out to the right hand side. There's an opportunity for them to break forward, and it will come the way of Wiseman. Wiseman's ball back to Abu's on the right hand side, about 10 yards from this near side touchline, right in front of the Israel head coach. Long ball is switched out to that left flank, picked up by Hatem El Hamed, and breaks to Solomon. Solomon's had a very good game tonight. He's driving down that left hand side again. O'Donnell's the covering player, and he elects to knock it out for a throw in for Israel, and O'Donnell's hurt himself in the process there.
I think it's still cramp, Liam.
It's not a good sign.
Yeah, he's went down. There's no contact. It is cramp. He's struggling. This is going to need a bit of attention. Referee's over him just now, but no contact whatsoever. He's just, trying to play it out for the throw-in, and I think it's the hamstring. It's just tightened right up on him.
Kenny McLean is going to come on, Norwich City player. So O'Donnell toiling a little bit now, and the only real option they've got out there if O'Donnell can't continue is Patterson, who began his career as a right back, but has been primarily an attacking player since he moved down south. Here come Israel. Beaton steps away from McGinn, threads it through. This could be the big moment here for the Israelis, dancing around inside the box. An opportunity here with a shot on the edge of the penalty area. It is back to goal though, Zahavi, and that will be a goal kick, and it will remain Scotland 0, Israel 0. O'Donnell will come off, Kenny McLean will come on, so it's going to be a reshuffle. Willie Miller.
Yeah, late in the game, just have to wait and see what that reshuffle will do. But obviously, Kenny McLean's going to go into the heart of the midfield. I think it's Ryan Fraser that's been asked to go out to the wing back, which he has played before. So it's not a new role for him, but. That was a little bit concerning for Scotland, allowing Beaton to just stroll through there and play the pass into the box. Fortunately for us, that the opening didn't happen for the Israelis. They had a couple of chances to strike it and goal, but just couldn't manage to find a little bit of space.
Luckily for us, Liam, they don't look as if they want to take a shot or an effort. I mean, they're in a good position, they work into the box. I think it's Zahavi as well who's got the opportunity to pull the trigger, and they don't, to try to work it into a better position, but they try to thread a needle, the Israelis, and it just isn't happening for them.
Back into the sort of time in the game that if you score you're probably going to go on to win it. 7 minutes remaining, and as Israel doing the attacking, the cross was aimed for Weissman, headed away by Gallagher, who has done well tonight at the heart of that Scotland defence. It's now out on this right hand side with Beaton, short out to the touchline for Dassa, midway inside the Scotland half. Little dummy from Weissman, he gets the break of the ball as it bounces back off Gallagher. Now it is played out to the left hand side there for Yaney. They've got options again round about the edge of the box. Zahavi is always an option, and he's on the ball now. McGinn trying to stick to him. Zahavi getting it onto the left foot, then pokes it with the right out wide left for El Hamid. Bends the ball high into the Scotland box, headed away by Liam Cooper. Dassa rolling it back to the edge of the area, and then Elmke's the substitute is going to get it back from Beaton, looking for space to cross. Right foot bends the ball in, flicked away by Gallagher. It's only half away though. Scuffed effort there by Solomon. More fresh air than football. 24 minutes of extra time have come and gone. Scotland 0, Israel 0, and it's back in the arms of David Marshall.
You're putting your money in Solomon to get a good drive at that one, isn't it? I mean, it's not an easy one for him to take, coming out with the floodlights there, but on the volley at a quite tight angle, but doesn't catch it at all. We've got plenty of bodies back. We've got plenty in front of them, but the Israelis are beginning again to take a little bit of control of this game.
I was worried because Solomon's a technical one, he has been all night, but he just scuffs his shot. But at least they're having a go to try and win it in this extra time. Scotland just can't get up the park well.
There's Robertson for the Scots, moves it into the centre circle, but it's picked up by McLean, who's just on. It's now with McGinn. The Scots have made all their changes now as that comes back from McGinn there to Cooper. The Cooper's going to go back to his keeper here. You kind of get the feeling we could be playing here till sunrise and it would remain goalless.
I'm just thinking with that back pass, just as well as no fans in the ground.
Yeah. It's now back with Marciano, the Israeli goalkeeper. Pings it out to this near side. Dassa helps it on its way with a back flicked header into the Scotland half, but it's going to drop to Cooper. Cooper's long ball looking for Robertson, goes over the head of Dassa, but Beaton reads it. Now he's found Dassa, right footed, left hand side of the centre circle. It is now with Solomon, who's driving forward. He's been a shining light for Israel tonight. It's out to El Hamid on the left. Chip ball comes into the box. Weissman's there. It's just wide. What an opportunity for Israel to potentially win this semi-final in Hampden. Chip ball in by El Hamid of Celtic from the left-hand side. Weissman on the stretch could get nothing on it. If he gets anything on it at all, it's probably in the back of David Marshall's net. It remains after 26 fraught extra time minutes. Scotland 0, Israel 0.
We're saying though, they're the ones pushing, they're the ones asking the question, and it's El Hamid, Solomon, who's got on the ball all night with his movement, just gives it to him. El Hamid just comes in the right foot from the left hand side, just a little dink and swinger, and Weissman, if he gets even the merest of touches, a flick, it scores, because David Marshall is still scrambling in his goal away to his left, but luckily for us it clears the post.
Anything at all, Dodgy, anything at all, and that's us out.
Weissman has it right hand side. Again Israel doing the attacking. Level with 18-yard line, low ball into Elmke's, looking to return it to Weissman with the back heel, but it's cut out and away by Robertson. Across the halfway line it goes, looking for Patterson. It bounces out for a Scotland throw-in on this near side off TV. The man who gave away the penalty in the Nations League meeting between the two last month. And we are just 3 minutes away from Scotland's first ever penalty shootout at senior level. The only one I think any of the men's sides have had was the under-16s back in the late 80s. Roddy Forsyth giving me the thumbs up for that one. The long ball from Marshall is helped on its way there by Patterson. Might get back onto it here. Heads it into the penalty box, but it will go right through to Ophir Marciano. It's looking like penalties.
We look at spent force, don't we? We just look as if we'll take penalties and take our shot, and that we'll see how we go.
It feels that that's how they've gone through the entire match.
It's really been better in the extra time. There's no doubt. We've got a bit more energy. We look flat. I know it's difficult out there, but right now they're a team, the Scotland team, that just say, well, we'll take a chance with the penalties. Simple as that.
You've got to find something though, Dodge. You've got to find some energy. You know, it's such an important game. You've got to find, some players that are willing to step up to the plate. Well, maybe
McGinn is on it. He had a really good spell in that second half. As McGregor picks up, McGregor rolling it out to Robertson on the left hand side, promising attack here. Scotland with the cross from Robertson. It's very deep though. McGinn slips as he controls. He's still on it though. Right hand side of the box. McGinn going one way then the other, getting it back onto the left foot, looking to dig out a cross to the edge of the area. McGregor's volley at goal is a sliced one though, and Israel able to clear. Scotland put the pressure on. The final minute and a half of extra time. Scotland 0, Israel 0. Serbia have beaten Norway at the Uleval in Oslo. The winners will play Serbia. In comes the cross, headed away from the 6-yard line, and the referee didn't like the challenge by Patterson. He's, I think, talked himself into at least a warning. It's going to be a yellow card for Callum Patterson, and it will stay Scotland 0, Israel 1 as we tick into minute 30 of extra time.
That's all about a referee there. I mean, that's great advantage for the Israelis. He should let them play on there. He blows his whistle way too early there for that challenge that Patterson puts in. I think thankfully from our point of view, it's a good decision from him, but it was a good opportunity for Israel to hit us in the break.
Well, it's in many ways 2020's been a year of uncharted territory. Scotland are about to go into uncharted territory. The players out there will all have taken part in a penalty shootout at some point in their careers at club level. Never done it at national level, and that is looking highly likely now. There will be a bit of injury time. The fourth official is the board. Long ball for Israel, offside against Zahavi.
And international level, Liam, with what's at stake as well.
I'm glad I'm not taking one. 1 minute. It's been confirmed. 1 minute to spare themselves kicks from the penalty mark. It's now with Robertson. Gets it back to Cooper. And the referee is going to bring it back for a foul there by Weissman on Robertson down on this near side. So you just thump this long in towards the Israel box, because we're into that 1 minute of stoppage time. It's short instead by McLean to Robertson, and now back to McLean. McLean moving it left to right of the centre circle for McTominay. He's threaded it through to Ryan Fraser, right hand side of the box. Is this the moment? In comes the cross. Patterson chested back to the edge of the box for McGinn, who finds Robertson, who shoots. It's deflected. It's going to bounce. Is he going to go for a corner? Yes, it is. It's a Scotland corner, and there's only about 15 seconds of the injury time in extra time left. Now this is the time you want to score in.
Well, this is it. This is the last chance. 1 minute, and it's on 55 seconds. Only a few seconds to go to allow Scotland to get into the final.
Robertson's corner, and it comes as a header towards goal. Marciano's kept it out, and Israel clear. And the referee blows for full time. It will be Scotland's first ever penalty shootout, and it comes after Marciano managed to beat away the effort. A couple of Scotland players with their heads in their hands inside the Israel penalty box, and it will remain after extra time 0-0. And we do have a penalty shootout at Hampden to decide who will play Serbia in Belgrade next month for a place at Euro 2020. It finishes Scotland 0, Israel 0. Yeah, 23rd of June 1998. That was the last time Scotland played a major tournament match in the Stade Geoffrey Guichard in Saint-Etienne, the 98 World Cup, and John McGinn is going to take the first penalty. The Aston Villa midfielder in amongst the goals in that incredible victory over Liverpool in the Premier League on Sunday. The penalties will be taken off to a right in the east end of Hampden Park. And John McGinn stands and takes a big, deep, long breath and waits for the Romanian referee's whistle, which comes now. Left-footed penalty from McGinn. Oh, he squeezes it under Marciano, who holds his head in his hands. Scotland draw first blood in the shootout.
Well, it's in, that's the main thing, isn't it? It's squirmed over the line. Marciano's dived his right guest the right way. There's enough power on it for McGinn to get it over the line, and that's all that matters.
Dodgy goes under his arm, he goes through his armpit.
Oh, he's raging with himself. Marciano, you can't believe it. Zahavi is going to step up
have to believe that ended up in the back of the net.
14 goals in 15 internationals now for Zahavi, because he didn't score in normal time or extra time. He stands up against David Marshall. It will be Zahavi to take this one with the right foot. He can cut the tension. Here he comes, right footed. Saved by Marshall! Marshall saves to his right. Zahavi looks to the heavens. Scotland have the advantage in the shootout, 1-0.
Same corner, you know, Marshall goes down. He gets a good fist, good hands behind it to parry it back out. It's a well taken penalty kick, hits the target. You know, it's well wide of Marshall, but it's an excellent save.
Plenty of pace. I mean, that's a brilliant save to keep that out from Marshall.
Callum McGregor's next up for Scotland. He spots the ball up. Ovidiu Hategin, the referee, just telling Ophir Marciano to stand in his line. Can Scotland take advantage of that missed Zahavi spot kick? McGregor begins his run up. Left footed from McGregor. Brilliant penalty. Sweeps it into the right corner of the net, and it is 2-0 Scotland in the shootout.
Left foot, great power, great direction. Marciano, no chance of getting that one.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Because he goes the right way, dives full length, but the pace, the power, the accuracy is brilliant from McGregor. He put us two up.
McGregor's Celtic teammate Nir Beaton is taking Israel's second, and he's under an immense amount of pressure now. Zahavi's been Israel's go-to man for the best part of the last 2 years, but he failed from the spot. Beaton looking to convert for Israel, and he just waits as the referee once more goes to the goalkeeper, David Marshall, who saved from Zahavi. Beaton stands just inside the penalty area, ready to go. He's eyeing up David Marshall. Here he comes, Beaton, right-footed, scores. Really good penalty. Past Marshall, who dived to his left. The ball ends up in the net. It's now 2-1 to the Scots, who still have that advantage as Scott McTominay prepares to take their third.
That's cool though, isn't it, from Beaton? You know, he just gives it air, he puts it high into the roof of the net, doesn't really put it at too much of an angle. It's more over the top of Marshall rather than to the side of him, but cool character on that one.
Manchester United, Scott McTominay, right-footed, coming up. Can he put the Scots into a 3-1 lead in the shootout? Here goes McTominay, he's been playing in defence, it's right-footed, he finds the bottom left corner, and he celebrates with a punch in the air. 3-1 Scotland.
Again, good accuracy. Yeah, because Marciano dives the right way, there's enough on it, it's low into the bottom right-hand corner of Marciano's. Really good penalty from McTominay under that pressure.
Well, he maybe is a little extra celebration because he missed a glorious opportunity at the end, towards the end of the first half of normal time. Weissman, who was a Celtic target in the summer, is going to take this penalty kick for Israel, looking to bring them back to within one. David Marshall stands right in the middle of his goal. Here he comes, Weissman, he finds the net too, right down the middle. Marshall dive to his left. It's 3-2. Shanklin next for the Scots.
Well, it's a good penalty because it ends on the back of the net. He obviously knows the goalkeeper's going to his left hand side, and he just puts it right down the middle.
It's cool, and it still asks the question of us. It's not easy. Our first 3 penalties have been brilliant. Now it's up to Shanklin, Liam.
93 goals in his last 112 games for his club sides, Ayr United and now at Dundee United. The referee telling Israel's Weissman to hurry up and get back on the halfway line, which he does now. Shankland against Marciano. It's 3-2. Shankland looking to put the Scots 2 up in the shootout again and move them a little bit closer to a final against Serbia. Here comes Shankland, moving towards the ball, right footed into the left corner of the net, and it is 4-2. Lawrence Shankland scores, and another sigh of relief.
Yeah, it puts Marciano the wrong way too, isn't he? And it's a very cool and calm, collected young striker there that finds the back of the net.
And it will be Abu Fani to take this one.
Huge pressure on him.
Yep. David Marshall inside his 6-yard box. Abu comes up to spot up the ball. Scotland 4-2 up in this one, and he cannot afford to miss. If he does, Scotland are in the final. This could be the moment. David Marshall, 16 years as Scotland international. Can he come up with a save here? There's the whistle. Here comes Abu. It's going to be right footed. He's found the bottom right corner of the net. It's 4-3, and Scotland will have to try and do it themselves here.
Yeah, young midfielder coming on as a substitute as well, and just opens up the foot, just puts it to the right hand side. Marshall goes the wrong way.
Coolness personified under that pressure, but Kenny McLean's got the chance to win it.
This is it.
Got all the experience, great left foot, chance to stand up and make history.
Well, this could be one of the most important kicks of a football by a Scotland national team player for 22 and a bit years. This is to set up a playoff final against Serbia in Belgrade next month. Kenny McLean, left-footed penalty. Can he do it? Yes, he can! Yes, he can! As he puts it to the left corner of the net, the Scotland players run over to celebrate with the Norwich City midfielder. There is a pylon, and little wonder Kenny McLean has sent Scotland through to the playoff final, where they will face Serbia. A turgid 90 minutes, a turgid extra time, but they were picture perfect with the penalty spots. McLean the hero, after McGinn, McGregor, McTominay and Shankland all found the net with aplomb too. The Scots win the penalty shootout by 5-3 after a goalless game of football. A massive moment for McLean and a massive moment for Scotland.